Hello friends and welcome to this new lecture. Today we are going to solve the GATE 2026 Architecture and Planning question paper. So before we start solving the actual question paper, I will just brief you about the exam which was conducted on 15th February 2026. The result was declared on 19th March 2026. Around 10,673 candidates they have registered for this exam and only 8,415 candidates they have appeared. So I can say that around 2,000 candidates they have preferred to just donate their registration fee to the conducting institute, which was IIT Guwahati. As per the website, the highest score achieved by the candidate, that means AR1 candidate, has achieved the total score of 80.33. So this was the brief facts about the question paper of GATE Architecture and Planning 2026. Then if we talk about the cutoff marks, then you can see on the screen that since past 3 years, the cutoff for the general category is on an average 40 marks. Okay. Then cutoff marks for the OBC are in the range of 36 to 37. Similarly, for the cutoff for the SC, ST and the PWD candidate, it is in the range of 26 to 27. Now coming back to the brief analysis of the GATE 2026 question paper of Architecture and Planning stream, then the section wise distribution of questions is generally as you can see on your screen. The general aptitude section, the first section contains 10 questions, my mistake, 10 questions carrying 5 marks each or 2 marks each. First 5 question will be 1 mark each and followed by the next 5 question will be 2 marks each. Then the common and compulsory section, it contains total 39 question. The remaining two sections are the optional one, like any one of the section the candidate has to attempt in your exam. The 16 questions, they are for the architecture students, and the B2 parts, it contains 16 questions which are the planning related questions. Now there is no separate ranking for the section you have chosen while appearing for the gate exam. There is no separate ranking, like the candidate can select any one of the section. He can go through the 16 number of questions from the both these sections and then select the which section he is going to attempt in the exam. Then, as you have read in the thumbnail, when I have checked with the number of questions which were like very easy nature, and few questions, or I would say most of the questions in the question paper were having the direct references in set 1 or set 2 of the architect's guidebook. Like if you compare the general aptitude section, uh, out of 10 questions, 6 questions were very easy to answer. Similarly, for the common and compulsory section, out of 39 questions, 36 question, most of them they have their ready reference in the set 1, like the previous year question papers, of the set 2, which is containing the theory related to your gate architecture and planning syllabus. Similarly, for the architecture part, that is B1 section, out of 16, 12 questions I have identified that they were easy to answer because most of them have their ready reference in the previous year question papers. Similarly, for the part B2, out of 16, 13 questions were having the references in the both these guidebooks. So let's talk about the general aptitude section first. As you can see on the table on your screen on the left side, these 6 questions I have identified as these were very easy to answer. But when I'm saying easy to answer, the candidate need to practice the general aptitude questions. He cannot just go in the final exam day and just start solving the general aptitude questions. One needs to prepare thoroughly for the general aptitude section also while preparing for the entire syllabus. Then coming back to common and compulsory section, 39 out of 39 question, you can see on the table that wherever I have marked in the remark column as RA, I have identified that the references were there in the architect's guidebook, and few questions were very easy to answer. Of course, we are going to solve those questions in the latter part. And then yes, then from question 26 to 40, these many questions, the reference was there. When coming to the architecture part, that is part B1, out of 16 questions, as I said, 12 questions they were having the references in the architect's guidebook, or few were one question was very easy to answer. So you can, the candidate could have easily achieved 18 marks in this question. I have just done the total of these marks, which I have written in the last column in the marks section. Then the last one, the planning section, part B2, out of 16 question, 13 question were having their references in the architect's guidebook, right? So we are going to solve the entire question paper one by one. First we will solve the general aptitude section, followed by the common and compulsory, and then we'll solve the B1 and B2 section, right? So the summary of what we have discussed just in last few minutes, that the possible score in gate 2026 with careful self study, I'm saying the careful self study, which includes minimum 5 revisions of both the guidebooks, set 1 and set 2, before your final exam. Then the possible score, like if I have done the total, then general aptitude plus your common and compulsory plus architecture portion, that is B1, then 7 plus 54 plus 18, the sum will be 79. And similarly for the, if there was a planning candidate which who was appearing for the for this gate exam, then general aptitude plus common and compulsory plus planning related portion, then 7 plus 54 plus 21, the total possible score could have been 79 and 82 respectively for the architecture and planning candidate. Now when I have shown the result or the score of the AR1, the highest score achieved by the candidate in gate 2026, it is 80.33. Now what I want to say, see the similar analysis I have done for the past question papers also. One need to do the careful study of the past year question paper, as well as he or she needs to complete the entire syllabus. Then, like, achieving minimum 65 to 70 marks minimum, I'm saying, is not at all difficult one, right? So this is what I want to brief you in the beginning about the question paper. So let's start from the first section, that is the general aptitude section. The first question, it is very similar to the previous year question paper. Like the first question itself, it starts from the analogy. So the first question is, the verbosity is similar to the brevity, then insolence will be similar to which of the following options? We have to choose the word that best fills the blanks. So options were innocence, respect, solace, and wealth. Now, verbosity means the fact or quality of using more words than needed, and brevity means the state of being short or quick with few words. So, this verbosity and brevity, they are exactly opposite to each other. They are antonyms. So, similarly, the opposite or antonym of insolence, the meaning of insolence means rude. So, antonym of insolence will be the respect, which is mentioned at option B. So, here the first the answer for the first question will be on option B. Yes, it was like, I will say, the medium kind of a question. So I have not included this question in the in that table which I have just shown you. Question 2, which was easy nature. The product of the digits of a three-digit number is 70. The sum of the digits of this three-digit number is which of the following? Very easy question. You can just start solving this one by one, step by step. Late, we just assume that these three numbers are x, y, z. So as per the condition or as per the information given, what will be the first condition? They have mentioned that the product of these three digits is 70. So x into y into z will be 70, right? So if you see that the only possibility for x, y, z is x equal to 2, y equal to 5, and z equal to 7. Just assume that they are in the increasing order, right? Because 70 is not divisible by 3, 70 is not divisible by 4, 70 is not divisible by 6, 8, 9, followed, right? And then we need to fulfill the condition that this the multiplication is 70. So x plus y plus x, y, and z, the value can be only 2, 5, and 7 respectively. So x plus y plus z will be 2 plus 5 plus 7. The addition will be 14. So here you could have selected the option B in your final answer. So answer B is the correct one. So, like I have said earlier, the question 2 was easy nature. So 1 marks could have been easily achieved for this question. Question 3, again the simple one. The four pieces of a puzzle are shown in the adjacent figure, right? Which one of these the figures labeled as P, Q, R, and S can be constructed using each of the four pieces only once without overlapping? We have to use only once and there is no overlap. I think selecting option E, right, which means figure P, it can be constructed by using these four pieces, was not difficult one. So here the option is correct option is option A, that means figure P, right? So again the third question was of very easy nature, of 1 mark. Question 4 is, consider two distinct positive real numbers m, n, with a condition that m is greater than n. Let x equal to n to the power log m to the base 10 and y equal to m to the power log n to the base 10. The relation between x and y is which of the following? Option says x is greater than y, x is less than y. Option C says x is equal to y. Option D is x equal to log 10 log y to the base 10. Okay. So, as I have mentioned in the first video lecture in the preparation strategy, the problems, the questions related to your logarithm, the basic rule of logarithm, are always repeating since past few years. So you need to basically understand, or basically um, need to go thoroughly to the what are the basic rules in the logarithm. So as per the information, x equal to n to the power log m to the base 10 and y is equal to m to the power log n to the base 10, right? So take log, we will take log base 10 of both the equations. So it will be log x equal to log of whatever this figure given here, log of n to the power log m to the base 10, right? So by the rule of logarithm, we can take this power as a multiplier, right? So that will be log m to the base 10 into this portion log n to the base 10. Similarly, for this one, log y, for the second condition, it will be log of m to the power log n to the base 10. So we can take this portion as a multiplier. So it will be log n to the base 10 into log of m to the base 10, right? So what this says, it means that your both these figures, they are common, right? They are equal. So that means log x equal to log y, that means your x is equal to y, which is given at option C. So answer C is the correct one here. So fourth question was also very easy. If you have gone through the basic rules of logarithm before your exam, then solving question 4 was the easy one. Question 5 again of easy nature. If his latest movie had been a commercial success, the actor would have made enough money to sponsor his next movie. Based only on the above sentence, which one of the following statements is true? Option A is the actor will certainly sponsor his next movie. B, his latest movie was a commercial success. The actor made enough money from his latest movie. Option D is his latest movie was not commercial successful. Now we just go through the option one by one. Option A is the actor will certainly sponsor his next movie. Now we can't be so sure because the sentence itself starts with if his latest movie had been a commercial success. So there is no surety, there is no certainty. So option A is definitely the incorrect one. Option B is his latest movie was a commercial success. No, this option is also the incorrect one. C, the actor made enough money from his latest movie. Now we can't say this as a confirmed statement. Option D is surely the correct one, right? Because the given statement starts with if. So it means that his latest movie was not commercially successful. So option D was the correct answer for this question, and this was very easy to answer. So 1 mark question, this was for question 5. Question 6 to 10, these are again MCQ question. All the 10 questions in general aptitude section are MCQ type, carry 1 mark or 2 mark each. If the question is carrying 1 mark, and if you have answered it wrong, then there will be negative marking of 1/3. If the question is carrying 2 mark, then in case of a wrong answer, there will be negative marking of 2/3. Question 6 is related to the English grammar. My friend and I parted dash the door dash the cabin that I had rented dash the night. Okay, so choose the option with the correct sequence of words to fill in the blanks. Now we'll just look at the second portion of the sentence, right? This portion, this fill in the blanks. What can be the fill in the blanks from the given option? Now the door, there should be definitely of the cabin, the door of the cabin, right? So option B says door at the cabin, so this option B is definitely the incorrect one. The door for the cabin, this is also the incorrect one. So of, which is mentioned in option A and D, is the correct one, right? Door of the cabin that I had rented dash for the night, so it will be definitely for, right? The door of the cabin that I had rented for the night, right? So which is mentioned at option A also and option D also. So at and in will decide the final answer. So my friend and I parted in the door, it will be the incorrect one, which is mentioned in the option D. My friend and I parted in the door will be the incorrect. So at the door will be the correct one, right? So my friend and I parted at the door of the cabin that I had rented for the night. So option A will be the correct answer, right? So option 6 was also easy one, 2 mark question. Question 7. Five integers are picked from 0 to 20 with possible repetitions such that their mean is 12, median is 18, and they have a single mode of 20. Ignoring permutations, the number of ways to pick these five integers is which of the following? Options are 0, 1, 2, and 3. Let's solve this example problem step by step. So, what is the first information they have mentioned? The mean of these five integers is 12, right? So, which means that the sum of the five integers is 5 into 12, that means it will be the 60, right? The second information they have mentioned that median is 18. So, it means your third integer in the order is 18. If they are in the increasing order, then the third integer in those five integers will be 18. And then they have mentioned that there is only single mode of 20. What is mode? That means 20 is occurring more frequently than any other number, right? So there is only single mode of 20, that means 20 is appearing more than one time. So as per these above conditions, we can say that the five integers we can express it as a plus b plus c plus d plus e equal to 60, right? Now, based on the information which is mentioned in these three steps, we can say that the median they have mentioned that it is 18. That means the third term we can say that the c can be 18, right? And mode, that means 20, they have said it is a mode, that means it is appearing more than one times, right? So we just assume that d and e are 20, and just consider that this c, d and e, a, b, c, d and e, they are in the as per the sorted list or as per the increasing order, right? So if we put the value of c as 18, d and e as 20, what will we get? A plus b plus 18 plus 20 plus 20 will be equal to 60. That means that a plus b will be 2, right? So what they have mentioned that these integers, they are picked from 0 to 20. Their range is 0 to 20. Now what will be the possibility for a and b? A and b, the values will be either 0 to, or it will be a will be equal to 1 and b will be also equal to 1. Now they have mentioned that there is only single mode of 20, right? So that means one cannot appear more than one time, right? So because there is a single mode of 20, This the second possibility, that a and b, the value of a and b can be 1 and 1, is not possible. So definitely the value of a and b will be 0 and 2, right? So these five integers from 0 to 20, they can be picked up only one way. And what is that? 0, 2, 18, 20 and 20, right? So for this question 7, option B was the correct one, right? So bit lengthy. I have not considered that all the students, they could have managed to solve this example. So I have not considered marks for this question, but of course it was also the easy one, question 7. Question 8. Rishi and Swati are students of class 5. Pawan and Tanvi are students of class 4. Rishi and Pawan are boys. Swati and Tanvi are girls. The four students played a total of 3 games of chess. The games were played one after another. A player who lost a game did not participate in any more games. It was observed that condition 1. The first game was the only game where two students of the same class played against each other. Second condition, the students of class 5 won more games than students of class 4. And the third condition was the boys won 2 games and the girls won 1 game. Now the questions ask, the student who did not lose any game is which of the following? Pawan, Rishi, Swati and Tanvi, right? So we'll just go through one by one sentence which is given in the question, and then we'll write that information while solving the question. So first condition is, the first game was the only game where two students of the same class played against each other. So let's assume that the first game was played between Rishi and Swati, right? Rishi and Swati of class 5, which is mentioned at just the beginning of the question. So let's assume that the first game was played between Rishi and Swati. The first condition we are fulfilling, that it was played between the same class, in which Rishi won the game. Let's just assume it. Now why we are assuming that the Rishi won? Because it is partially fulfilling the third condition also, that boys won more games than the girls, right? So already by assuming in the first part that Rishi won the game, we have partially fulfilled that the first game has been won by the boys. So we have partially fulfilled the third condition of boy winning the first game out of remaining 2 games won by boys, and also fulfills the second condition, that the student of class 5, they have won more games than the students of class 4, right? So we have partially fulfilled both these conditions, condition 2 and condition 3. Now, further, as per condition, it is mentioned in the question that the player who lost a game did not participate in any more games. That means if Swati has not won game against the Rishi, that means she cannot participate in any other game, right? So Swati didn't play any game. As per our assumption, Swati didn't play any game after losing the first game against the Rishi, right? Now, the second game, we will assume that the second game, it should have been played between the class 5 and class 4, right? Because it is mentioned that students of class 5 won more games than students of class 4. And total there were 3 games, right? So, as per the condition mentioned in the question, the second game should have been played between class 5 and class 4. So, further, the results of the match should be such that the boys of class 5 should win the match, right? So, as per this condition, the result of the game played between Rishi and Pawan is that again Rishi won the game, right? So two conditions we have fulfilled here, that boys have won 2 games, and second, the students of class 5 won more games than the students of class 4, right? Now, in the last one, as per condition 1 and 2, let's assume that the third game was played between Rishi and Tanvi, right? In which Tanvi won the game. Now, this also fulfills the condition that the students of class 4 won 1 game, as well as one girl has won the 1 game out of the 3 games, right? So, this also fulfills the third condition, that girls won 1 game. So, as per this, the student who did not lose any game will be Tanvi, right? So which is mentioned in option D. So very easy question, step by step. We have assumed few things as per the condition, and also we try to partially fulfill the remaining two conditions, right? So here option D was the correct answer for question 8. So easy question, as you can see on the table, 2 marks I have considered here. So achieving minimum 7 marks, minimum I would say, question 7, question 9 and 10 also of easy nature. If you have done the regular practice of the questions of those nature, then achieving more than 7 marks was also possible for the GATE 2026 exam. Let's see question 9. Question 9 was P, Q, R, S, X, and Y are distinct single digit whole numbers taking values from 0 to 9. Okay. PQ is a two digit number with Q being the unit place. Q is the unit place, P is the tens place. Similarly, RS is also a two digit number. Now, what is the condition? It is known that PQ and RS are consecutive numbers, and the next condition is PQ square plus RS square will be equal to XYP, with XYP being a three digit number. Now this the the addition of the squares of both these consecutive numbers is a three digit number. Now they are asking what is the value of Y. That means we need to find out the value of Y. That means the value at the tens place of this number, three digit number, right? And the value of Y will be 4, 5, 6 or 7. We need to find out the correct option. So first condition, as per the information given, PQ and RS, they are consecutive numbers. So we just assume that PQ equal to N. So automatically RS will be N plus 1, right? Further, what they have mentioned, PQ square plus RS square is equal to XYP, right? So PQ square plus RS square, as we have assumed PQ equal to N and RS equal to N plus 1. So that means it will be N square plus N plus 1 bracket square. The value will be equal to XYP. That means if we solve this the bracket, it will be 2N square plus 2N plus 1 will be equal to XYP, right? Now in the third step, what they have mentioned, XYP is a three digit number. Now there are two possibilities. This 2n square plus 2n plus 1 will be definitely less than 999, right? Less than or equal to 999. Or it should be 2n square plus 2n plus 1 will be definitely equal to or greater than 100, right? Because it is a three digit number, right? Now let's solve this 2n square plus 2n plus 1. So this 1 will go here. So it will be 2n square plus 2n is less than or equal to 998. So the value by solving this equation will be n will be less than or equal to 22. And similarly by solving the second equation, n will be greater than or equal to 6. Now what they have mentioned, that n is a two digit number, right? What they have mentioned, PQ is a two digit number. We have assumed PQ equal to N, right? So N is a two digit number. So N cannot be equal to 6 or N cannot be equal to 7, 8, 9. N should be equal to or greater than 10, right? So the value of N, what is the range of the values? The value is N will be either it will be equal to 10 or more greater than 10, and it should be equal to or less than 22. So the range is 10 to 22. So we will just put these values of n, which is ranging from 10 to 22, in this relation, right? N square plus n plus 1 bracket square, which is equal to XYP. And we need to uh, fulfill the condition that PQ is a two digit number, Q being in the unit place and P in the tens place. So we need to fulfill this condition that the first the digit or the number which is at the tens place in the PQ, it should be at the units place in this three digit number, right? So we'll just write down the values of n and n plus 1, and we'll just try to see that whether these values are fulfilling this condition that P, Q, R and S, whether they are distinct numbers, which is just mentioned in the first part, then whether x and y are distinct in three digit number, because x and y, they are different ones. So the three digit number should cannot be 110, right? It cannot be 221, because the x and y, they are distinct in three digit number. Similarly, the third condition we need to fulfill is whether tens place of pq is same as units place of xyp, right? The tens place, which is, for example, here the tens place of pq, that should be same as the units place of xyp, so which is there, right? If you done the square of 10 plus square of 11 and do the addition, it will be 221. So these two conditions are not getting fulfilled, that pqr and s, they are not distinct, right? Because one is repeating here. Second condition also, these two numbers are not fulfilling. The third condition is getting fulfilled, but we need to find out the values which are fulfilling all these three conditions as per the information given in the question. So if you solve, you will find that the two values which are fulfilling all these three conditions are 19 and 20. The the sum of the squares of these two figures will be 761. So they are fulfilling all these three conditions which is given in these three columns, right? Now for the figure, for the numbers, as we said, the value of n can be in the range of 10 to 22. So the maximum value was 22, though n plus 1 will be 23, but the sum of the squares of these two will be 1023. Now 1023 is not a three digit number, so just find out the values between 21 and 22 in this table. So as I said, the values, the correct values which are fulfilling all the conditions mentioned in the question are 19 and 20. Now what the question is asking, they want the values, the the value of y, right, which is at the tens place in that three digit number. So here if you see the value of y, right, in this three digit number is 6. So your option C was the correct one for this question. So bit lengthy, but the question was easy if you are done the stepwise calculation. Very easy nature of question. Question 10. In the adjacent figure, P, Q and R are 3 points on a circle of radius 10 centimeter. The radius is 10 centimeter. Here, OP with O at its center. PQ is equal to RQ. PQ is equal to RQ. And angle PQR is 45 degree. And this figure is representative. Just ignore these dotted lines. I have drawn these dotted lines in the explanation, for the explanation part. So only this figure was provided in the question, right? This the shaded portion was there. Now what they are asking, the area of the shaded region PQRO is how much square centimeter? The options were 50, 25 root 2, option C 50 root 2, option D was 100. Let's solve this question step by step. What they have mentioned, as per the information, this OP equal to OR, right? OP equal to OR, and it will be also equal to OQ. These three are the radius of the circle, which is mentioned as the 10 centimeter. Similarly, they have mentioned in the question that PQ equal to RQ, right? So we will just draw the line PR. Okay. So it can be observed that the angle PQ and R, right? This PQR and POR, they subtend the same arc, which is arc PR, right? So as per the inscribed angle theorem, an inscribed angle, right, this one, if they are subtending the same arc, this inscribed angle is half of the central angle. This inscribed angle PQR is half of the central angle, right? But what they have mentioned, angle PQR they have mentioned as 45 degree, so automatically this angle, the angle POR, will be 90 degree, right? So area, thus area of right angle triangle POR, this POR will be half into base into height, right? Half into base into height. So which will be, they have mentioned OP and OR as 10 centimeter, that means the radius, right? So we'll just do the calculation, 1 half into base will be 10, height will be 10. So the area of this right angle triangle POR will be 50 square meter, right? Similarly, since angle POR is 90 degree, right, and OP, which is also equal to OR, so that means angle OPR, this OPR is right angle and isosceles triangle, right? So this means that as per 45 45 90 triangle, this hypotenuse PR, which it will be root 2 times of your one side, that means the side which are equal in nature, right? The equal sides. So the PR will be root 2 times of the side OP. So we have just said that the radius is 10, so this will be 10 root 2, the PR will be 10 root 2. Now we'll draw the perpendicular line OS. These, as I said, these dotted lines I have drawn only for the explanation part. So this perpendicular line OS to the line PR, we can observe that the triangle OP and S is also right angle isosceles triangle. What is the like logic behind? If we draw the line which is joining the center portion, or which is dividing this angle, it will be perpendicular to this PR, and which will divide this line PR in two equal parts. So this angle OPS is also right angle and isosceles triangle. So which means that your OS will be equal to PS, which is equal to SR, which will be half of your PR. Now the value of PR we have just identified or calculated, which is 10 root 2. So half of PR will be 5 root 2. So that means the height of triangle PQR, right? Now we can identify or we can calculate the height of angle PQR, which will be OQ plus OS, right? So which will be OQ, the value is known, which is 10, right? QS, the OS part we have just calculated, which is 5 root 2. So the total of this, the height QS, which will be 10 plus 5 root 2. Now, how we will identify the shaded portion? We just need to subtract this area. We will first find out the area of PQR. We have just calculated, and then we'll subtract the area of this triangle POR, right? So, area of triangle PQR, this PQR will be equal to one half into base into height. So here base is, let's say, PR, which is the value is 10 root 2, right? The value of QS, like the height, which will be equal to 10 plus 5 root 2. So half into base into height. If you solve this, you will get the area of triangle PQR will be 50 root 2 plus 50, right? So the area of shaded region will be equal to, as I said, area of triangle PQR minus area of triangle OPR. So which will be equal to 50 root 2 plus 50 minus 50. So if you solve, you will get the value as 50 root 2. So which is mentioned in option C. So your option C was the correct answer for this question 10. So up to this, we have solved the general aptitude section, and as I said in the table which is mentioned in the beginning, that these are achieving 7 marks in this general aptitude section was very easy. Of course, question 10 and question 9, 7, they were also easy question, but you need to do the practice of this general aptitude section for the GATE exam. So after this, we will start solving the common and compulsory sections, which is containing 39 marks. It is common and compulsory for both architecture and planning students. So let's begin with the common and compulsory section. So part A, which contains common and compulsory questions for both architecture and planning students, this section carries total marks of 60. So very important sections. Question 11 to 28, these are MCQ or multiple select question or numerical answer type question. Each question from question 11 to 28 is carrying 1 mark. There will be negative marking of 1/3 for the wrong answer. However, there is no negative marking for multiple select question and numerical answer type question. In order to get the full marks in case of multiple select questions, you need to select all the correct options out of given four options. If there are two options correct, then you must select both these options in that particular uh, question. If you select only one correct answer, you will not get the partial marking. So that is the important aspect about the multiple select question. In numerical answer type question, your final answer should be in the range which is provided in the final official answer key by the gate authority. So if your answer is within that range, you will get full marks in case of numerical answer type questions. So let's begin from question 11, which is 1 mark question. The five elements of equistics as defined by CA Doxiadis are nature, man, society, and dash and networks. It is MCQ question. Options are shells, livestock, wealth, and land. So the same question related to the equistics was previously asked multiple times. We have already explained the the theory related to equistics in GATE 2006 at question 25. You can pause the video, open the set 1 of Architect's Guidebook, and you can read in that explanation that the information related to question 11 of GATE 2026 has been already provided there. So the related question was also earlier asked in GATE 2024, 2010, 2008, 2007, so on. You can read on the screen. So you can check that all these question papers, they have the questions related to either the author, the proponent of equistics theory, that is C.A. Doxiadis, and the questions related to equistics have been asked in the previous year question papers. So here the correct option was option A, shells. So as I said in the beginning, achieving 1 mark was not easy one, because you have read the theory related to this equistics multiple times in the previous year question paper as well as in the set 2 of Architect's Guidebook. The next question, question 12, again it was related to the previous year question paper. An earthquake originates at. Here we have read, or the same question was earlier asked and explained in UPSC CPWD 2024, the recent one, which was conducted by UPSC for the recruitment of architects in CPWD department. So you can check UPSC CPWD 2024 question paper in set 1, and you can check in question 89, as well as in UPSC CPWD 2015 the related question was there at question 69. So here the correct option was option B, hypocenter. Again, selecting option B was not the difficult one if you have done the multiple revisions of set 1 and set 2. So these both these questions mm, were having their direct references in the previous year question papers, right? The next question, question 13, the adjacent figure shows road accessibility on the x-axis and hierarchy of roads on the y-axis. The line which represents their correct relationship is which of the following? Now you can see the graph on your right side. They are asking which line correctly represents the relationship. That means the hierarchy of road and with the respect to the road accessibility. Now the similar question was there in GATE 2022 at question 15. Now what is the theory? In the adjacent figure, line S, which is correctly showing that this road accessibility, right? This road accessibility, it is highest at the local state, right? It is highest at the local state, and it goes on decreasing as you go along local state to collector road, then arterial road, highway, and expressway. What does it mean? Local street, you have ample lot of accessibility. It is very easy to enter, take a exit from the local street, but that is not the case with the expressway. In expressway, the vehicles are very fast moving. The expressways, nowadays we call this as a access control expressway. So there is a limitation on the entry and exit points in order to provide maximum facility for the fast moving vehicles to avoid the accidents. So this S line, it correctly represents that the road accessibility, it decreases from the local street to expressway. So local street is having the maximum accessibility, and expressway, they are having the least accessibility. So here the option D was the correct one for this particular question 13. So similar question, as I said, was asked in GATE 2022 question 15. So if you have done the revision, or you have understood the concept from this particular previous year question paper of GATE 2022 at question 15, I think selecting option D for this particular question was not difficult one. So answer D is the correct one for this question 13. Question 14 is, as per the National Building Code of India 2016, the minimum fire resistance of service ducts and shaft is which of the following minutes, right? So the similar question was earlier asked and explained in ISRO 2017. Again, this was a competitive exam question paper conducted by ISRO in 2017 for recruitment of architect. You can check the question 4, that in that particular question they have asked the minimum fire resistance of some different part of a building, and here in question 14 they have asked what is the minimum fire resistance of service ducts and shafts in how many minutes. So here the correct answer is option C, that is 120 minutes. So in NBC you can read that minimum 120 minutes, that is 2 hour fire resistance is required in case of a service duct or shaft. So here option C was the correct one. Question 15, on a topographic map, increasing spacing between successive contour lines uphill represents which of the following slope? Options are concave, convex, uniform and waning. So the question, which was exactly opposite to the given question, was earlier asked in GATE 2005 at question 50. You can pause this video, you can check that particular question paper of GATE 2005 and question 50. And the similar question was also earlier asked in ISRO 2017 at question 12. So what was the explanation provided there? If the contour lines become further apart as you move uphill, the slope is steep at the bottom, right? And it gradually becomes gentle towards the top. So this shape is called as a convex slope. On a topographic map, if the contour lines they are coming close to each other, then there is a steep slope. And whereas exactly opposite, if there is a wide spacing between the contour line, then we call it as a gentle slope. So here the correct option is convex one, as I just explained. So because the reference was available, you have understood the concept, selecting option B was not the difficult one. So B was the correct answer for this particular question of question 15. Question 16. As per UN's Sustainable Development Goals SDGs, Dash aims to end hunger, achieve food security, improve nutrition, and promote sustainable agriculture. So options are SDG 2, SDG 3, SDG 6, and SDG 11. So here the similar question, which was recently asked in GATE 2022 at question 22. I have explained all these goals and their what are the targets they want to achieve in that particular goal. So here selecting option A was not the difficult one. SDG 2 is related to your or SDG 2 is aiming to end the hunger, achieve food security, improve nutrition, and promote the sustainable agriculture. So again, the reference was there in the previous year question paper. Option A for question 16 was the correct one. Question 17, according to the neighborhood unit concept proposed by Clarence A. Perry, the maximum radius for walking to the nearest elementary school is dash miles. Options were 0.25, zero point 0.5, C 1, option D is 1.5. Now the reference was there in set 2 of Architect's Guidebook in section 5, which is planning process, under subsection 5.1, that is silent concepts, theories and principles of urban planning. And there you will find this explanation that the size of unit decides upon the maximum walking distance from the extreme dwelling unit to the elementary school and shopping centers. This walking distance considered by CA Perry is one-fourth mile, right? Hence, the physical form of the neighborhood unit considered by C.A. Perry is one-fourth mile radius, which suggests that the maximum radius for walking distance from home to the community center should be one-fourth mile, right? So here, selecting option A, that is 0.25, was not difficult one. It was very easy. So option A was the correct answer for this question 17. Next question 18. Which of the following is or are correct order of processes in the water cycle? It is multiple select question. As I just recently said, you need to select if they are specifically they have mentioned is or are, that means it is a multiple select question. Wherever you will find this kind of a uh, arrangement is oblique are, that means it is a multiple select question. There can be more than one correct answer. In case it may happen that only one answer is also correct, right? So if three answers are incorrect, you need to select only that one correct answer. If you select two options and the other one is not the correct one, then you will not get the partial marking, right? So here we have the references related to the this aquifer recharge. This is the new terminology you will find here. So what is meant by aquifer recharge, we have already discussed in way back in gate 1996 at question 2, right? So here if you see carefully see the options, then interception or percolation and percolation followed by the infiltration, this is not the correct process, this is not the correct order, and interception is definitely not related to the water cycle. So option B and option C are definitely the incorrect one. Option A says evaporation followed by condensation followed by precipitation. Yes, it is the correct order. Option D is infiltration, then percolation, and then aquifer recharge. Yes, option D is also the correct one. You can open this GATE 1996 question 2, in which the question related to the aquifer recharge have been asked previously in that particular question paper. So option D is also the correct one, and option A is also the correct one. So option A and D will be the correct answer for this question 18, which was the multiple select question. Question 19. As per the Municipal Solid Waste Management Manual by the Central Public Health and Environmental Engineering Organization, that is CPHEEO, published in 2016, which of the following is or are listed in the three principles? Options are recover, recycle, reduce, and repair. Of course, very easy question. The three principles: reduce, reuse, and recycle, right? Everyone is aware about this. So I think selecting option correct options for this particular question was not difficult one. Recycle and reduce are the correct option for this. The same question was earlier asked in gate 2008 at question 3. So here selecting option B and C was not difficult one. Recover and repair are the incorrect options for this. So question 19, the correct answers were option B and option C. Question 20. Which of the following is or are vertical or verticals in the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana 2.0, that is PMAY Urban 2.0? It is a multiple select question similar to the previous question. Option A, in situ slum redevelopment, that is ISSR. Option B, affordable housing in partnership, that is AHP. Option C, affordable rental housing, that is ARH. Option D, beneficiary led construction, BLC. Now there is the recent this question was related to your current affairs, current knowledge, general knowledge about the ongoing schemes, the current government schemes related to the housing and urban development. Now PM AY 2.0 was recently launched by the government. So the question related to PMAYU, the first phase, the first scheme which was launched way back when by the Prime Honorable Prime Minister PM Modi. So the question related to those that particular scheme was earlier asked and explained in GATE 2025 question 66, GATE 2023 at question 71, ISRO 2017 question 66. These three questions they were related to your Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana urban scheme. And as I said, the recent update was the Union Cabinet approved Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana PMAY 2.0 on 9th August 2024. So this was related to your general understanding, your awareness about the current affairs. So under that scheme, the financial assistance will be provided to 1 crore urban poor and middle class families to construct, purchase or rent a house. The affordable rental housing scheme was recently included after the COVID period in the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. So, as I said, purchase or rent a house at an affordable cost in urban areas. So, PMAY urban 2.0 will be implemented through four verticals, which are they? First one is beneficiary led construction, BLC, which was already there in the first phase, that is PMAYU. Second, affordable housing in partnership, this was also there. Third one, affordable rental housing ARH, which was included recently. Fourth one, interest subsidy scheme, which was also there in the first phase. So eligible beneficiary, they can avail benefits under any one of the four verticals as per their choice. So what was excluded in the PMAY Urban 2.0? The first one, that is in situ slum redevelopment ISSR, has been excluded under PMAY 2.0 as per this recent update. So here the option A is not the correct one. So option B, C and D, they are the four verticals under PMAY 2.0. So option B, C and D are the correct one for this question 20. 21. Which of the following is or are mandatory requirement or requirements of an area to be declared as ODF plus plus under Swachh Bharat Mission of Government of India? Again, it is a multiple select questions. Options where all households have piped water connection. B, all households have rainwater harvesting system. Option C, all sludge and sewage are safely managed and treated with no discharge into the open environment. Option D, all households have dry and waste segregation systems. Now, what does mean by ODF? ODF means open defecation free, and under Swachh Bharat Mission Government of India, the protocols are as follows. ODF plus, the status ODF plus, that protocol focuses on construction of individual household and community or public toilets. Then ODF plus, one more advanced protocol, ODF plus, it focuses on operation and maintenance of community and public toilets by ensuring their functionality and proper maintenance for the continued uses. ODF++, the highest protocol, it focuses on addressing safe containment, evacuation, transportation and processing of fecal sludge from toilets and ensuring that no untreated sludge is discharged into open drains, water bodies or in open fields. The last one, the water plus, that protocol helps to ensure that no untreated waste water is discharged into the open environment or water bodies. So if you carefully see options, the four options, all households have piped water connection. This is not related to your open defecation free, right? Option B, all households have rainwater harvesting system. Totally irrelevant one. There is no relation between rainwater harvesting and open defecation free environment. And option D, all households have dry and waste wet waste segregation system. Of course, this is also not related with the open defecation free mission under the Swachh Bharat mission. So option C was the only correct option here. So C was the correct one. As I said just before few minutes, that sometimes it may happen that only one option can also be the correct one in multiple select question. So you need to select only that correct option. If there are more than one, then both the correct option you need to select to get the complete marks for that particular multiple select question. So question 21 was also the easy one. You can just go through the option one by one and see that whether they are related with the context of the data which is mentioned in question. Question 22, in India, as per the Rights of Persons with Disability Act 2016, which of the following plans represents tactile tile or tiles for assisting mobility of visually impaired persons? You can see the illustration they have provided in option A, B, C and D. Now the question related to this tactile tiles was earlier asked, and I have also explained all the types of tactile tiles in GATE 2022 at question 35, ISRO 2018 at question 1, ISRO 2019 at question 3, UPSC CPWD 2016 at question 35 and GATE 2007 at question 65. You can pause the video for 2-3 minutes and just go through all these questions so that you will understand the interrelation between those questions, like how the questions can be asked multiple types based on the same data. So here Selecting option A and D was not a difficult one because B and C, these are totally the incorrect options. So option A and D were the correct one. You can see the illustration I have already provided in the one of the question paper in set 1, as well as we have also discussed in set 2 also the theory related to this particular question. Question 23. Which of the following is or are ecosystem service or services offered by forest? Multiple select question. Option A, regulating. Option B, provisioning. Option C, cultural. Option D is geopolitical. Now you can see that forests provide multiple ecosystem services which can be grouped as regulating services. For example, forests do regulate our climate, they regulate our flood, as well as they offer the services like the provisioning services. For example, forests provide us the timber, forests provide us food, medicinal resources, etc. They're also important um, for the cultural aspects, right? The cultural services, for example, forests provide us the recreation spaces, spiritual values they provide. So forest do provide the ecosystem services like the regulating one, the provisioning one, and the cultural one. However, geopolitical is not an ecosystem service category. So option D was the incorrect one. So option A, B, C were the correct options for this question 23. So this was the easy question. I think many students must have answered this question correctly. Question 24. Minimum The minimum number of masonry units of size 200 mm by 100 mm by 100 mm each required to construct a solid dry wall. Please underline this: solid dry wall. They are not using any mortar in between the bricks or the masonry units. What is the size of solid drywall to be constructed is length is 3 meter, height is 2 meter, and thickness is 0.20 meter. So they are asking the minimum number of masonry units of this particular size which is provided in the question. What will be the quantity of the masonry units will be required to construct the length or the height, length at the height and the thickness of the wall which has been provided. So the similar question was earlier asked, and we have also explained this in gate 2022 at question 47, so 2016, 2004, and UPSC MES 2019. Again, as I said multiple times, you can pause the video, check those particular question. You just need to mm, practice these kind of questions by putting your own values. So at the final exam day you can quickly solve this kind of numerical answer type question, and so, you can definitely select the or you can easily solve the particular question, numerical answer type question, within few minutes. So here, whatever what is the information which has been provided? The size of masonry unit is 200 mm, that is length. They have not specified the width and height. So 100 mm is common as per the data provided. So 100 mm we assume that it is a width, 100 mm is a height. So we'll just convert it to the meter, right? Because the length of the solid wall will need to construct the units they have mentioned in the latter part in is in meter. So we'll just convert this to 100 mm. It will be zero point 0.2 meter. Similarly, 100 mm will be zero point 0.1 meter. 100 mm will be zero point 0.1 meter. So this will be the size of the masonry unit. So what will be the total volume of single masonry unit? It will be zero point 0.2 into zero point 0.1 into zero point 0.1. So the volume of single masonry unit will be 0.002 meter cube. Then we will find what is the volume of dry wall. It will be 3 into 2 into 0.20. So you can use the calculator in your exam. So the multiplication will be 1.2 meter cube. So what we need to do, just simply divide the 1.2 by the volume of single masonry unit. That means 1.2 divided by 0.002, you will get the answer as 600. So 600 masonry units will be required to construct the dry wall of the dimensions which have been provided in the question. Previously, they have also, in the previous year question paper, they have also provided what is the size of the mortar required in between the two masonry units. So you need to multiply what will be the gap in between those masonry units, and then you need to calculate how many masonry units will be required. So here question 24 of gate 2026 was not that difficult. You just need to put 600 the answer in your final in your exam. So as per the official answer key, the range of answer provided were 600 to 660, right? So I think I, there is a clear cut calculation. So 600 was the correct one as per the official answer key. So you will get full marks for this question 24. Question 25. A commercial property has a total floor space of 15,000 meter square, consisting of two-third office space and one-third retail space. The parking standards considered in this property for office and retail spaces are 6 and 4.5 equivalent car space, that means ECS, per 100 square meter respectively, right? So 6 ECS for the official office purposes per 100 square meter, and 4.5 ECS per retail space, right, per 100 square meter. So what they are asking, the total number of ECS required for the retail space in this property is which of the is how much. We need to put the answer in the integer. So let's solve this question step by step. Again, the similar question was there, which was explained in GATE 2018 at question 44 and GATE 2023, the recent one at question 34. Very similar nature, very similar question was there, just there is a change of values. Instead of this like 1500 meter square, the number was some different one, and the remaining data was more or less the similar one. So before you will you if you can pause the video, you can solve this particular question paper, that particular question, and then you can try solving this question by your own. I think it will be easy to solve. So as per the information given, the total floor space of commercial property is 15,000 meter square, right? And in the first part they have said that it consists of two-third office space. So two-third of 15,000 meter square will be 10,000 meter square, and remaining one-third, that means the retail space, will be 5,000 meter square. Now what they have provided, what they are asking in the, like, what is the answer desired, what is the data provided, they are asking the total number of ECS required for the retail space. They are not asking for the commercial, for the my mistake, for the office space. They are not asking for the office space, they are asking for the only retail space, right? So what is the standards provided as per the parking standards? They are saying 4.5 ECS is required per 100 square meter, right? So what we need to do, just need to do the cross multiplication. If 4.5 ECS are required for 100 meter square, what will be the ECS required for 5,000 meter square? So the answer will be 225 ECS will be required for this 5,000 meter square of retail space, right? So 225 was the answer desired for this. As per answer key, only 225 should be the answer in your final answer, right? So we'll get full marks because we have correctly calculated 225 is the correct answer for this question 25 numerical answer type question. Question 26. For a computer lab, a set of furniture has just been purchased at the cost of 8,50,000. The useful life of this furniture is 8 years. If the annual depreciation rate is 15%, then the salvage value of this furniture in rupees is how much? Right? The similar question, again, this is the repetition of the similar question which was there in the previous year question paper. You can check GATE 2024, the recent paper question 44, and GATE 2013 question 52 and 53. Both these questions were of very similar nature. You just need to put the values in that formula and calculate the final answer. So as per the information given, purchase cost, that means P is 8,50,000, lifespan is 8 years. So annual depreciation rate, which has been provided, is 15%. So 15% will be 0.15. What is the formula for to find out the salvage value? Salvage value will be equal to P into bracket 1 minus R bracket raised to N. What is P? P is your purchase call, R is the depreciation rate, N is the lifespan. You just need to put the values provided in the question in this formula. So it will be 8,50,000 multiplied by 1 minus 0.15, that is what the value of R, bracket raised to 8. 8 is the lifespan. So you can use your scientific calculator in the gate exam, and you can find out the value, which will be equal to 2,31,617. So this value you can put your in your final answer. So as per the official answer key, the range of answer was 2,31,600 to 2,31,700. So you can check that our answer is in between the range. You will get full marks for this numerical answer type question. Question 27. The geometric construction of a golden mean rectangle is shown in the adjacent figure. It starts with square ABCD. It starts with ABCD of 1 centimeter side. The side is 1 centimeter. Continuing the development of the golden mean rectangles, the derived length of IJ. They are asking what will be the length of this IJ in centimeter. Right? So the question related to golden ratio we have already discussed in GATE 2022 question 17 and GATE 2006 at question 28. So as per that explanation, as we know that the approximate value of golden ratio is 1.618, right? So here we just find out the BH upon BC. BH upon BC will be 1.618. That means that because BH is 1, that means BH will be 1.618, right? So what we can see from the figure, CH will be equal to IJ, right? CH, which is BC plus BH, right? The value will be 1 plus 1.618, the value will be 2.618, and because CH is equal to IJ, the value of IJ will be 2.618. So very easy question. As per official answer key, the answers between this range of 2.600 to 2.650 were considered correct. The question have particularly asked rounded off to 3 decimal places, right? So if you have put 2.600, 2.618, then it is the correct answer. You will get full marks for this numerical answer type question 27. Question 28, again the easy one. If a site of 1 lakh meter square accommodates 500 dwelling units DU, then the residential density in DU per acre is how much? They have provided site area in meter square, and they are asking the residential density in terms of dwelling units per acre. So for this you must know about the conversion between the meter, square meter to the acres, right? So the similar question we have discussed in these 3 question papers: GATE 2019, GATE 2013, and GATE 2003. You can check those 3 questions, 43, 46, and 62 respectively, of these 3 question papers. So we have multiple times discussed the conversion of square meter to acre, right? So the area of the site which has been provided is 1 lakh meter square. So simply we will divide 1 lakh by 4046, this by 4046. Reason being, 1 acre is equal to 4046 meter square, right? So first we will find out the area of the site in acres, and then we will just simply divide by the that area by the 500 dwelling. You will get the dwelling units per acre, right? So here the calculation will be 1 lakh divided by 4046, it will be 24.71 acre. So the site area, that means 1 lakh meter square, will be equal to 24.7 acre, right? As per the information, total dwelling units are 500. So the residential density DU per acre will be, we just divide 500 by 24.71, we will get the answer as 20.23. They are asking the answer rounded off to the nearest integer. So 20.23, we will just ignore the values after this point. So 20 we can put the answer in the final answer. So as per official answer key, the range of answer is between 18 to 22. 20 is exactly the average of both these figures. So we'll get full marks for this question 28. I think very easy question. In just 3 steps, you could have calculated what is the final answer. Question 29 onwards up to question 49, these questions are carrying 2 marks each. As I said in the beginning, in case of multiple choice question, for each wrong answer there will be a negative marking of 2/3, no partial marking for multiple select question and numerical answer type question. as well as there is no negative marking for both these multiple select question and the numerical answer type question. So question 29 was match the following cities in group 1 with their corresponding sun path diagrams in group 2. In group 1 they have mentioned New Delhi, Singapore, Sydney and Helsinki at P, Q, R and S respectively. In group 2 at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 they have mentioned the sun path diagrams. Now we need to find out which is the correct option for this match the pair question. The first one, you just focus on New Delhi. New Delhi, our India is situated in the northern hemisphere, right? So the sun path is always towards the south, which is mentioned at serial number 3 in group 2, right? So P3, the first pair we can select is P3, which is the correct one. So here, as per this, it means that option A and option B, which are showing P1 and P2 as the pair, will be the incorrect one. So we can ignore option A and B for this particular pair because it is not showing P3 as the data. The remaining two option, it is showing P3 as the correct pair, right? Now let's focus on C and D. Both these options C and D, they have included R1 as the common pair, right? So which will be the deciding pair? Q and S will decide the final answer, right? Sydney, the Australia is situated in the southern hemisphere, so the sun path will be exactly opposite like the first pair of New Delhi. So the sun path will be towards the north of the center, right? So here for Sydney, R1 is the correct pair and it is the common pair they have mentioned in option C and D, right? Singapore, which is situated on the equator line. So the sun path is symmetric about the center as shown in diagram 5. For Singapore, the correct diagram is shown at serial number 5 in group 2. So the third pair which you can select is Q5, which is mentioned at option C. So your option D is also the incorrect one. So option C is the correct answer for this. The remaining one, the Helsinki, this is in Finland, Europe. So it is situated at the higher altitude. So Helsinki, the location is somewhere here. So it is situated at a higher altitude in northern hemisphere. That city experience very low sun throughout the year. So the sun path diagram is shallow arc towards south as shown in diagram 2. So this diagram is correct. It correctly shows the sun path diagram of Helsinki. So the last pair which is there in question C is also the correct one. So option C for this particular question was the correct answer. Question 30, very easy to solve. Match the following graphical representation in group 1 with their associated terms in group 2. In group 1 they have mentioned the illustrations, the graphical representation, and we need to select the correct pair with that particular illustration with the term mentioned in group 2. So the first one, the question related to the illustration which is shown at serial number P in group 1, which is showing the interlacing. The question related to this particular graphical representation was earlier asked in GATE 2022, the recent paper at question 16. Right, so that particular illustration P, it shows the interlacing which is mentioned at serial number 4 in group 2. So P4 is the first correct pair, right? So it means that your option A and option D, which are not showing P4, will be the incorrect one. So we'll ignore these option A and D. Now we'll just focus on the remaining three pairs. In the remaining two options, B and C, it is easy to select the second correct pair of graphical representation shown at R. Now, what does this graphical representation at R shows? It shows the alteration, right? There is a repetition of, there is an alteration of the particular rectangle of one height is then alternatively the bigger rectangle, then again the smaller rectangle. So alternative they have placed these rectangles. So this R shows this representation correctly shows the alteration. So R2 is the correct pair for this. It is not mentioned in option B. It says R3. So this is not the special tension. right? So R3 is the incorrect one. Similarly, these the graphical representation at S, it shows the progression, right? There is a progression which we can see in the illustration. So S1 is the correct pair. So option C for this particular question was the correct answer for this particular question. I think easy to solve. Just we have deleted the incorrect option and then we have derived the final answer for this question. Question 31. Match the city planning concepts in group 1 with their proponents in group 2. Group 1 they have mentioned the city planning concepts, and group 2 we have to correctly match their respective proponents of these planning concepts. So the question related to these planning concepts and their proponents have been asked multiple times in previous year question paper. So we will start from the first concept, that is conservative surgery. Multiple times the question has been asked. The correct proponent is this concept, conservative surgery, has been proposed by Patrick Geddes. So first pair is Q3. So we'll just see in which option Q3 is the correct pair mentioned. So you can see that option B and C, it is mentioned that Q3 is the correct pair in option B and C. So option A and D will be the incorrect one. So we will ignore these two options, A and D. Right. Then the next concept, Garden City, you can easily select Garden City proposed by the Ebenezer Howard. So S5 is the correct pair, which is common in both the options B and C. Then the deciding pair, right? As I said, S5 is the common pair. The deciding pair will be the uh, pair P. So City Beautiful Moment, it has been proposed by Daniel Burnham, and this city planning concept, the question related to this particular concept was explained in GATE 2019 at question 38, right? So P4 is not the correct pair, which is mentioned in option C. So C will be the incorrect one. So only option B is the correct answer. So if you are aware about any 2 to 3 concept, you can select the correct option in the match the pair questions. So answer option B will be the correct answer for this question 31. Question 32. Match the tree species in group 1 with the color of their flowers in group 2. In group 1 they have mentioned the botanical names, not the common names, the botanical names, and we have to select what is the correct color of those trees, right? So the similar question was earlier asked recently in GATE 2019 at question 35. So you can expect that such kind of question can be asked in GATE question papers in the coming years. So the first pair here we can concentrate, or the two pairs where we can concentrate is Cassia fistula, which is commonly known as Amalthus, or it is we generally call it is as a golden shower tree or a jungle fire. So it has a yellow color, bright yellow color flower, and the last one, that is Plumeria alba, which is commonly known as champa tree. The color of this tree is the white in color. So P5 and S3, these are the correct pairs. So again, to confuse the candidate, they have mentioned both these correct pairs in option B and C, right? So option A and D will be the incorrect one. P5 and S3 are the common pairs in B and C. We need to select the correct answer by matching the correct pair for the tree mentioned at Q and tree mentioned at R with their respective color of the flowers, right? Now the question related to Jacaranda mimicifolia was previously asked in ISRO 2018. We have explained this. What is the common name of Jacaranda mimicifolia? It is Nili Golmohar. So you can see the color of the flower itself, it is coming in the common name Nili Gulmohar. So that means it is a blue color Gulmohar, right? So the color of the flower of Jacaranda mimicifolia, it is white, violet, blue in color, right? So Q4 is the correct pair, which is mentioned in option C. So Q2, that means this is the incorrect one. So option B will also be the incorrect. So option C is the correct answer for this particular match the pair question, right? The extra information related to the tree mentioned at serial number R in group 1, that is Erythrina indica. The common name of this tree is Indian coral tree, It is a fast growing deciduous tree famous for its vibrant red color flowers. Right. So again, R1 is the correct one. Pair here, and this tree is widely known as tiger's claw due to its prickly spines on its branches. Right. Question 33. Match the books in group 1 with their corresponding authors in group 2. Now, the question, all the books which are mentioned in group 1, they have been asked for the first time. There is no previous year reference. All these books, the question related to all these books have been asked for the first time. So the only the known book which is, or the only known author for me, like yeah, I'm considering myself as I'm appearing for this gate exam. So you can see that the handbook of the birds of India and Pakistan, and the author which is mentioned at serial number 4 in group 2, Salim Ali. So this is the name which is associated with the birds, right? Because Salim Ali was the uh, prominent ornithologist, zoologist who focuses on birds of India, and he is famously known as the Birdman of India. So Q4 is the first correct pair. He had written this book, Handbook of the Birds of India and Pakistan, along with Sidney Dillon Ripley. So Q4 is the first correct pair, right? So you can see that option B and D, it correctly shows Q4 as the correct pair. So option A and C will be the incorrect one. Now the next one, The Silent Spring. This has been written by Rachel Carson. So P1 is the correct pair for here. Then the famous name, the Madhav Gadgil, he is associated with the Western Ghat Ecology Expert Panel. So many famous book have been written by Madhav Gadgil, and Madhav Gadgil, along with Ramchandra Guha, they have written the book titled Nurturing Biodiversity and Indian Agenda. This is the book which has been written by Madhav Gadgil and Ramchandra Guha. Right? So, Madhav Gadgil, the books which has been mentioned in group 1, none of the books has been written by Madhav Gadgil. Right? So, this in option in all the option they have matched some book with Madhav Gadgil, right? In option A you can see S2 is the pair, then P2 is the pair in option B, then R2 is the pair in option C, but none of these books mentioned in group 1 have been written by Madhav Gadgil. So this is the only correct option in option D is the only correct option for question 33. So you can add these books in the respective section of set 2, in which I have provided the important books and their authors. So this you can add in your notes, these books and their respective authors. So option D will be the correct option for question 33. The first time the question related to all these books have been asked, there was no previous reference related to these books. Question 34. Match the terms in group 1 with their corresponding descriptions in group 2. In group 1, VAV, Q, serial number Q, DWAT, R, El Nino, S, BRTS. Very easy question to answer. The question related to the term which is mentioned at serial number Q in group 1, that is DWAT, was earlier asked and explained in GATE 2016 at question 35. Now DWAT stands for Decentralized Wastewater System. Okay. So Q5 is the correct one. Q5 is the first correct pair. So you can see that option C and D will be the incorrect one, right? Now let's focus on the other pairs. The second correct pair we can select is BRTS, which stands for Bus Rapid Transit System, which is a public transportation system. So S2 is the correct pair. So straight away you can say that option B is also the incorrect one. The only correct option will be option A, right? Again, the additional information, the term mentioned at serial number P, that is VAV, or it is also called as VRV, it stands for Variable Air Volume or Variable Refrigerant Volume. It is an advanced HVAC technology developed by Daikin in 1982, capable of heating and cooling multiple zones by adjusting the refrigerant flow rather than air volume to meet the specific needs. Right? So, at correctly mentioned at option A, P3. That means it is the intelligent air conditioning system of the building. VAB, it is a intelligent air conditioning system of the building. Then the remaining one, R, that is El Nino. This is the natural climate phenomenon characterized by the abnormal warming of surface ocean waters in the eastern and central equatorial Pacific Ocean. It is generally associated with a rise in global temperatures, often boosting global warming trends. So R1 is the correct pair, right? Continent ocean heat balance system. It is balancing your continent ocean. So R1 is the correct pair. As I said, selecting option A was not the difficult one because the reference related to VAB, or it is also called as VRB, as then DWAT and BRTS was there. So selecting option A was not difficult one. Option A was the correct option for this question 34. Question 35. Match the concepts proposed by Kevin Lynch in group 1 with their corresponding descriptions in group 2. In group 1, they have mentioned legibility, imageability, structure, and identity. In group 2, the descriptions have been provided. So the question related to the first concept, which is mentioned at serial number P, legibility, was earlier asked and explained in UPSC CPWD 2024 at question 67. You can pause the video, check the particular question paper and that question. So the first pair here we can select is P4. That legibility, it means apparent clarity of the cityscape. So P4 is the first correct pair for this particular question. So option A and option D will be the incorrect one. Now let's focus on the remaining one. Kevin Lynch imageability, it refers to quality of a physical object like a city which gives a high probability of evoking a strong, vivid and structured image in any observer, right? So Q3 is the correct pair. So as it is correctly mentioned at option C, so option B will also be the incorrect one. So option C was the correct answer for this. The next question, question 36, was which of the following is or are correct labeling of P, Q, R, S and T with respect to the illustration of a suspension bridge as shown below. This illustration was provided. We have to correctly match that what is the correct nomenclature for this S, for the correct nomenclature of R, T, Q, P from the given options. Now let's focus on the options, right? So here you can see that in option A they have mentioned Q as the stay cable, okay, R as the pylon. Now this cannot be the pylon. This is the deck on which actually the vehicular traffic flows, right? So R cannot be the pylon. Now T is the sag. Yes, this is the correct one. Now T, then option B is P is the anchorage, P is the anchorage, S is pylon, T is primary suspended cable. My mistake, I said T is the sag, T is not the sag, this is the primary suspended cable, right? So again, this is the correct one. Option C says Q is the stay cable, Q is stackable, R is the stiffening date. Now exactly the correct nomenclature for R is the stiffening date, which is incorrectly mentioned at option A, that R is pylon, right? And S is pylon, which is the correct one. Option D says P is stiffening deck. Now this is also the incorrect one. This is the anchorage. R is pylon. R, this is again not a pylon, it is the deck. Then T is primary suspended cable. T is primary suspended cable, this one, right? So straight away you can say that option A and option D are the incorrect one, which is saying that R is the pylon. Now this S is the correct nomenclature. The correct nomenclature for this label S is the pylon. So option A and D cannot be the correct option, so we can ignore these two options. In option B, they have mentioned P as the anchorage, which is the correct nomenclature. S is pylon, this is also correct, and T is the primary suspended cable. Yes, this is called as the primary suspended cable, and Q is the stay cable, which is correctly mentioned at option C. Then here they have mentioned R as the stiffening deck, which is also the correct one, and S is the pylon. So option B and C are the correct option for this particular question. So you can see that in the explanation I have provided the correct labeling of all the parts, like it was mentioned in the question, what is the part P? So this is called as anchorage. Then this is the tower pylon resting on the piers. Then this is the deck on which the vehicle are all human figures. Humans, they are crossing the river. This one is the cable sag. Then this is the main cable stay, and these are called as the suspender cable, right? So this is the correct nomenclature, or this is the nomenclature for the components of a cable stayed bridge. So we have selected option B and C as the correct one. So this is the correct answer. Question 37. The adjacent figure shows the generic sequence of a spaces and direction of movement of users to and from an operation theater after entering from a common corridor. This is the common corridor, and this is the moment they are showing. Like from common corridor, you are going to space Q, then to operation theater, to space S, and again coming back to common corridor. And there is some moment which is directly going away from the operation theater, right? So what they are asking, the spaces are marked as P, Q, R, and S. Choose the correct options from the given below four options. It is a MSQ question. So let's focus on let's focus on what are the spaces we travel before entering the operation theater, and again after coming out of operation theater. What is the chronology? What is the sequence of spaces in the hospital? So the correct sequence of spaces and movement from a common corridor to operation theater and back to common corridor is as follows. Like the first space, which is the common corridor, or we call as a outpatient departments, OPDs, this is called as a common area or the non-sterile area. From here, the patient will be taken to a dress changing room, right? So which is a semi-sterile zone. From here, the patient will be taken to the pre-operative or a anesthesia room, which is a completely sterile zone, right? So from P, the patient will move to Q, which is a sterile zone, which is also called as a pre-operative area or a anesthesia room. From Q, the patient will be taken to the operation theater, which is totally a sterile zone, right? From operation theater, the patient will be again taken to the post-operative or a observation room, which is also a sterile zone, and from here the patient will be taken to the general ward or patient's individual room, which is again the which can be the semi-sterile or which can be the common non-sterile zone also. What is R? This is called as a dirty utility corridor, right, in a hospital, which is a dedicated, secure, and sanitary space designed for receiving, holding, and processing contaminated items such as bedpans, used linen, and medical waste before cleaning or disposal. From so all these contaminated material which are coming out from the operation theater, they will be taken out through a separate corridor, so that they will not come into contact with this semi-sterile zone or sterile zone once again. So it serves as a specialized zone to manage biocontamination and prevent infection. So the label R correctly shows the dirty utility, which is mentioned at option A, option B, then option D also. It correctly shows R as the dirty utility. So let's focus on the options. Option A, option A says Q is the pre-operative. Q is the pre-operative. Like just I have discussed, Q correctly mentioned this is the pre-operative room, which is a sterile zone. R as the dirty utility, it is the correct one. Now they are saying S is the dress change. Now S is cannot be the dress change. It is the post-operative room, right? P is the one which is correctly showing the dress changing room. So option A cannot be the correct one. Option B, it correctly says that P is the changing room, Q is the pre-operative room, and R is the dirty utility. So option B is the also correct one. C says P is the dirty utility. Now this cannot be the dirty utility. As I said, R is the correct nomenclature. Correctly shows the space as the dirty utility. So again, C will be the incorrect one. Option D, P is showing the dress change room, R is the dirty utility, and S is the post-operative, which is the correct sequence. So option A and C will be the incorrect one. Only the correct options are option B and option D. Question 38. Identify from the following the correct short command key or keys and their respective applications in AutoCAD software. It is a multiple select question. Option A, AR, which stands for the array command, and the application they have mentioned in the option dash, it creates multiple copies in rectangular, polar, or path pattern. Now this is the correct sentence, right? Option B is BRK, and it breaks a block or polyline into individual objects. Now it is the incorrect command. To break a block or polyline, we use the explode command, right? So, or the corrected statement for option B could have been the break command. It is used to split lines, arcs, circles, or polylines into two segments by removing a portion between two designated points. So option B is the incorrect one. Option C, CHA, chamfer. So it bevels the edges of two straight line segments. It is the correct statement. Option D is SXL. It breaks a single object into parts. It is the incorrect one. The corrected statement for this option D is the SXL command is a specialized command used for generating a block attribute list, acting as a tool to extract block attributes into a structured list. So SXL, which has been mentioned that breaks a single object into parts, it is the incorrect statement. Right? So two statements are correct from the given four options, and those are option A and option C. Question 39. Who among the following is or are the recipients of Pritzker Award, Pritzker Architecture Prize till 2025? It is a multiple select question. Again, the reference was there. We have provided the complete list of Pritzker Architecture Prize winner at question 20 in GATE 2017. So you can see that Santiago Calatrava and Charles Correa, they have not won this particular award till date. And this Leo Jiankun, he recently won this award in the year 2024. And Bibi Doshi, the only Indian architect who has won this Pritzker Architecture Prize award. So option A and option C will be the correct one. Option B and D are the incorrect options here. Question 40. Which of the following relationships is or are correct with respect to disaster risk in a geographical location? Right? In option A, they have provided risk is equal to hazard into vulnerability into exposure into capacity. Option B says hazard equal to risk into capacity into exposure. Option C says risk equal to hazard into vulnerability into exposure divided by the capacity. Option D says exposure equal to hazard into vulnerability divided by the risk. Now let's focus on option A and B. Now capacity, if you multiply hazard by capacity, it cannot give you the risk, right? In order to lower the risk, you need to increase the capacity. So the capacity cannot be the multiplier, right? So option A and B are the straight away the incorrect options. So let's focus on the terms associated with the disaster management. We have also discussed in set 2. Hazard. What is hazard? A natural hazard pertains to a natural phenomenon which occurs in proximity and poses a threat to people, structure, and economic assets caused by biological, geological, seismic, hydrological, or meteorological conditions or processes in the natural environment. So, what is the correct relationship between hazard and vulnerability? It is represented at hazard is always greater than the disaster, but the disaster is always less than the vulnerability, right? Or it can be also noted as disaster risk equal to hazard plus vulnerability. If you add hazard and vulnerability, it will give you the what is the kind of risk is associated with that particular disaster. Then what is risk? It is a measure of the expected losses due to a hazard event, that is called as a risk of a particular magnitude occurring in a given area over a specific period. Risk is a function of threat, that means hazard, and exposure or a weakness, which is called as a vulnerability. So the correct relation between risk, hazard, and vulnerability is risk equal to hazard into vulnerability, right? So if you see the relationship, which I have just explained, risk equal to hazard into vulnerability, in option A, as I explained previously, here up to this part it is correct, risk equal to hazard into vulnerability, but it cannot be multiplied. Risk cannot be the multiplier of capacity, right? So option A and B are the straight away incorrect one. Then the remaining term, the capacity, the combination of all the strengths, attributes, and resources available within a community, society, or an organization that can be used to achieve agreed goals of disaster management is called as the capacity. Now, what can be the correct relation between risk, hazard, vulnerability, and the capacity? The relationship between risk, hazard, vulnerability and capacity is a risk equal to hazard multiplied by vulnerability multiplied by exposure divided by capacity. So what does this relationship shows? If you increase the capacity which is at the denominator, obviously your risk will lower down, right? So this is the correct relationship which is mentioned at option C, right? So the above relationship, as I just said, it shows that disaster of a risk can be reduced by increasing the capacity, such as increasing the ability of people, organization, system by developing some kind of a resilient infrastructure, using avoidable skills and resources to face and manage adverse conditions, emergencies or disaster. So the correct relationship between risk, hazard, vulnerability, exposure and capacity is risk equal to hazard multiplied by vulnerability multiplied by exposure and divided by the capacity. So in order to lower down the risk, you need to increase the capacity. So option C was the correct answer for this question 40. Question 41. Which of the following is or are listed within the responsibilities of Council of Architecture as per the Architects Act 1972? It is a multiple select question. Again, the easy question. Option A, maintaining minimum standards of architectural education in India, the correct one. B, maintaining standards for professional conduct of registered architects. Yes, this is comes under the domain of Council of Architecture. Option C, maintaining minimum standards for master plan preparation. No, this is not associated with the responsibilities of Council of Architecture. Option D, regulating building material standards for construction projects in India. So option C and D are definitely the incorrect options. So only correct options are option A and B. I think selecting these two options was not the difficult one. Question 42. Which of the following is or are correct labeling of PQRST with respect to illustration of section through a given city? This particular illustration was provided. We have to correctly match what is the correct nomenclature for this. Option A, it says R is the footpath. Now the footpath cannot be at the top height of the multi-level parking, right? So option A is the incorrect one. S says it is a promenade next to the water body. So this is the correct nomenclature. T is the mass rapid transit corridor, which is also the correct nomenclature. B says P is skywalk. P is the skywalk. Yes, the steps have been shown here, and um, this is the skywalk. Correctly shows P is the skywalk. R is the multi-level car parking. So this is also the correct nomenclature for R. S is promenade, as we have already seen in option A. This is the correct nomenclature. Option C says Q is footpath. Yes, the correct one. R is the mass rapid transit corridor. No, this is the incorrect one. So option C is the incorrect option. T is multi-level car parking. This cannot be the multi-level car parking. I think this is also the easiest question in the question paper. P is skywalk as per option D. Correct nomenclature. Q is footpath. T is mass rapid transit corridor. So option D is also the correct correct option. So here, as I said, option A is wrong because it incorrectly shows the nomenclature that R is the footpath. Option B, the correct one. Option C, R cannot be the mass rapid transit corridor and T cannot be the multi-level car parking. So option C is also the incorrect one. So the only correct option are option B and option D. The easiest question in the question paper, I think, till now. Question 43, numerical answer type question. A city's population in 2025 is 1,75,000 and is expected to increase in the next 3 decades at a growth rate of 8.5% per decade. In 2055, the estimated per capita domestic water demand will be 175 liter per day. The total daily domestic water demand for the city in 2055 in million liters per day will be how much? And we have to answer rounded off to two decimal places. Now, just write down what is the data given and then solve the question step by step. The first one, or the reference, where was the reference available? Very similar question was previously asked and explained in gate 2024, the recent one at question 81, and gate 2006 at question 83. So both these questions, they were very similar to the question 43 of gate 2026. Now let's write down what is the given information. First one, they have mentioned that the existing population, we just write down P 2025, it is 1,75,000. The growth rate they have mentioned, it is 8.5% per decade, right? What is the formula to find out the population of particular year of a future population? So PF equal to PN multiplied by bracket 1 plus R bracket raised to n. This is the formula which you use to find out the future population. So PF is future population, that means it will be the population of 2055. PN is the present population, R is the annual or decadal growth rate. Here they have provided the decadal growth rate, sometime they will provide the annual growth rate also. N will be the gap of years. So N, what is the gap? In the gap between year 2055 to 2025. So here they have, because they have mentioned the decadal growth rate, we will take the what is the decadal gap in between these 2 years, right? So, as per the values given, we need to find out the future population of 2055. So, P 2055 will be 1,75,000 multiplied by bracket 1 plus what is the decadal growth rate? They have mentioned 8.5%. So, 8.5 divided by 100, it will be 0.085 bracket raised to 3. Now, why 3? There is a gap of 3 decades between 2025 to 2055, right? So, by solving this equation, we'll get the value of future population of 2055. It will be 2,24,000. Thus estimated population, this is the population in 2025, it will be 2,24,000, right? Now, as per the given information, they have mentioned that the estimated per capita domestic water demand will be 175 liters per day. That means 175 liters per day. We also called as 175 LPCD, liter per capita per day, right? So we'll just multiply this 175 by 2,24,000. We will get the total water demand, right? So the total daily domestic water demand for the city in 2055 will be 2,24,000 multiplied by 175. It will be this figure, right? 39,200,000 liters per day. Now, again coming back to the question, what they are asking, the total daily domestic water demand for the city in million liters per day, right? So you must understand what is the conversion between what is the value of 1 million, right? So the unit of answer expected as per the question is million liters per day. So we will convert this figure into millions, right? So the total daily domestic water demand for the city in 2055 will be this figure divided by 10 lakh. So the figure will be 39.2 million liters per day. So you need to put this 39.2 in the final answer, right? So as per the official answer key, the range of answer is between 36 to 40. Our answer is in between this range. So we'll get full marks for this question 43. Question 44. The section of a RCC staircase flight is shown in the figure below. This illustration was provided in the question paper. Each riser and tread of the staircase is 150 mm and 300 mm respectively. Riser is 150 mm, tread is 300 mm, which is mentioned in this illustration. The steps are supported by a 75 mm thick waste slab, right? It is mentioned that the thickness of this west slab is 75 mm. The width of staircase is 1500 mm. The flight consists of 10 steps. Consider reinforcement to be 0.75% by volume of total RCC. The density of steel is 7,800 kilogram per meter cube. The amount of reinforcement required to construct the staircase flight in kg is how much? Though the question is lengthy, it is very easy to solve. The similar question was there in GATE 2007 at question 55. You can pause the video, check that particular question in set 1 of Architect's Guidebook. Now let's look at what is the information provided. First one, we need to calculate what is the volume of one particular step. This one particular step, we need to find out the volume of that particular one step. So volume of one step will be the surface area, this surface area, right, multiplied by what is the total width of this staircase flight, which is mentioned as 1500 mm. So first we will find out what is the surface area and then we will multiply it by 1500, right? So the volume of one particular step will be half into, because this triangle, the surface area will calculate by half into base into height. So half into 300 by 150 multiplied by the width of the flight. So this figure will give the volume. First we have identified it in mm cube, but because the answer, the next units they have mentioned in meter, so we will convert this volume into meter cube. So volume of one particular step will be 0.033 meter cube, right? So what will be the volume of 10 steps? Just we will multiply this figure by 10, we will get the volume of total 10 steps, right? So it will be 10 multiplied by 0.033, it will be 0.33 meter cube. Right. So after this, we will calculate the volume of this west slab, right? The below portion. So we need to calculate first the total run of the staircase from here to here. What is the distance, right? So for this, we need to identify what is the hypotenuse. Here we know that this is 300, this is 150. So what is the hypotenuse for this? And then we will multiply by 10. We will get the total run of the particular staircase. So how we will identify here, this will, that will be 150 square plus 300 square will be the square of this particular hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse will be square root of 112500. So hypotenuse will be 335.41 mm. We'll convert this into meter. It will be 0.335 meter, right? So this particular distance is 0.335. If we multiply by 10, we will get the total run. So 10 multiplied by 0.335, it will give the total run of 3.35 meter. Now again the similar thing we will do, we will multiply this um, by the width of the particular uh, flight, right? So the volume of west slab will be 0.075, because the slab thickness is 75 mm. We will convert it to meter, so it will be 0.075 multiplied by 3.35, that is the total run, multiplied by 1.5, which is the width of the flight. So that multiplication will give us the figure, that is 0.376 meter cube. This is the volume of west slab, right? So what is the total volume? It will be the volume of 10 steps plus the volume of west slab. So it will be 0.33 plus 0.376. The figure will be 0.706 meter cube. Now the next thing they have mentioned, that the reinforcement is, it is 0.75% by volume of total RCC, right? So we need to calculate what is the actual volume of reinforcement. So as per the information, as I said, the volume of reinforcement is 0.75% of total volume of RCC. So the volume of reinforcement will be 0.75 divided by 100 into the volume which we have just identified. It is 0.706. So the volume of reinforcement, this multiplication, this calculation will give you the figure of 0.005295 meter cube, right? Now the next thing they have mentioned, that the density of steel is, for 1 meter cube of reinforcement, for 1 meter cube of RCC, there is a density of 7,800 kilo of steel, right? So we need to just do the cross multiplication. We will identify, we will calculate what is the amount of reinforcement, what will be the amount of reinforcement that is required for the volume of reinforcement, which is 0.005295. So by doing the cross multiplication of 7800 multiplied by 0.005295, we will get the figure as 41.30 kilo, right? So this is the final answer we need to put in the final answer. So as per the official answer key, the range of answer is between 38.00 to 44.00. Our answer is in between this range. We will get full marks for this numerical answer type question. Next question, question 45. Again, the reference was available related to the formula. A rectangular open concrete drainage channel has base width of 3 meter and flow depth of 1.5 meter. The channel bed slope is 0.001. If the Manning's roughness coefficient of concrete used in this channel is 0.018, then the average flow velocity of this channel in meter per second is how much? We need to put the final answer rounded off to two decimal places. Now, as I said, the reference was there in GATE 2001 at question 42. The formula was provided here. After many years, the question related to this particular Manning's formula have been asked. So, what is the formula? This formula is mostly used for design of sewers. The velocity of flow through sewers can be determined by using the Manning's formula, which is as follows. Manning's formula mentions that V equal to, that means the velocity of flow in sewer is equal to 1 upon n multiplied by r to the power 2 by 3 multiplied by s to the power 1 half, right? What is n, what is r, and what is s? R is the hydraulic mean depth of flow, right? R is the R is the hydraulic mean depth, which is calculated by cross-sectional area of drain carrying liquid divided by the weighted perimeter. So this is the again the formula to find out the R, that is the hydraulic mean depth. And what is N? N is the Manning's coefficient, which is mentioned as 0.018, and then S is the channel bed slope, which is again for this the value has been provided as 0.01001 in the question. So first, as per the information given, the cross-sectional area, because they have provided the width 3 meter and depth 1.5 meter, so the cross-sectional area will be 3 multiplied by 1.5, so the cross-sectional area will be 4.5 meter square. The weighted perimeter, so 2 times the flow depth, that is 1.5, plus the width, that will be the weighted perimeter. So 3 plus 1.5 plus 1.5, so the weighted perimeter P will be 6 meter. Now from this we'll calculate R, that is the hydraulic mean depth. As I said, R equal to A divided by P. So what is the cross-sectional area? We have just calculated, it is 4.5 divided by weighted perimeter, which is 6. So 4.5 divided by 6, it will be 0.75 meter. So the value of R we got here as 0.75. We'll put all these values in this equation. We'll get the velocity, the flow velocity in this channel. So by putting the value of n, r and s in the Manning's formula, we will get as v equal to 1 upon 0.018, the value of n which is mentioned in the question, the Manning's coefficient, roughness coefficient, multiplied by 0.75 bracket raised to 2 by 3 multiplied by 0.001 bracket raised to 1 by 2, right? So by solving this by using the scientific calculator, we will get the value as 1.46 meter per second, right? So this is the final answer. As per the final official answer key, the range of answer is between 1.30 to 1.60. Our answer is in between the range. We'll get full marks for this question 45. Question 46. A construction project consists of 7 activities. These activities, their connecting events, and the 3 PERT times, that is optimistic, likely, and pessimistic in days, are listed in this adjacent table. In column 1, they have mentioned activities. Of column 2, connecting events. Column 3 shows the 3 PERT times. That is, this means 4 means the optimistic, 6 means the likely, and 8 is the pessimistic. The project starts on 27 July 2026, assuming no holidays for the entire duration of the project except 15th August 2026. The expected date of completion of the project will be which of August 2026. We need to mention the date in integer. Now, the similar question was earlier asked and explained in GATE 2018 at question 48, GATE 2017 at question 34, GATE 2014 at question 41, 7, question 37, GATE 2006 at question 80. So, multiple references were there. We need to just find out the values based on the formulas which are already provided in so many question papers. So the first step, we will calculate the PERT value of time duration, that is the expected time T for each activity from Q to V, right? So what is the formula to find out the expected time? T equal to T0 plus 4Tm plus Tp divided by 6. What is T0? It is the optimistic time. Tm, it stands for most likely time, and Tp stands for pessimistic time. Now all these 3 times they have been provided in the third column, that is for our activity P, 4 is the optimistic time, 6 is the most likely time, and 8 is the pessimistic time. So based on this above formula, we will find out the expected time for these 7 activities. So for by putting these values 4, 6, 8 in this formula, we'll find out what is the expected time for each activity. So by calculating, we'll get that for activity P, the expected time will be 6. Similarly, for Q, it will be 7. For R, it will be 10. For S, it will be 11. For T, it will be 5. For U, it will be 9. And for V, it will be the 8 days. Right? Now, based on this activity and the expected time, we can draw the network diagram as you can see on your screen. Right? So, the adjacent network diagram or the diagram which is given below, it can be drawn based on the connecting events which are provided in the question, and we can observe that the longest part, the critical path, will be from the event 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Right? So this will be the critical path which I have just shown in the dotted line. So the total project completion time as per this critical path is 34 days, right? So this is the second step. We have identified what is the longest part, what is the critical path, and what is the total project completion as per the critical path. So it will be 34 days. Now what they are asking, assuming no holidays for the entire duration of the project except 15th August, the expected date of completion of the project will be how much? Now we just need to find out like what will be the 34th what will be the date on the 34th day by giving the one holiday on the 15th August when the project is starting on the 27th July 2026, right? So we in step 3 we will find out the date of completion of the project. So it is mentioned that the project is starting on 27 July 2026. We have just calculated that the project is requiring 34 days to complete. So assuming that because and there are no holidays, right, except 15th August. So the next thing, so out of total 34 days, the 5 days of July we can utilize for completion of project. So from 27th August, 27th till 31st July, there will be 5 days of July, right? So out of 34 days, we have used 5 days of July. Then the next 14 days, because there is a holiday on 15th August, next 14 days of August we can utilize, will be utilized. So total days utilized till 15th August will be 19, right? 14 days of August plus 5 days of July. So till now, till 15th August, the holiday, we have used 19 days. So what are the remaining days? 34 minus 19 will be 15 days. So because there is a holiday on 15th August, we will again start the work on 16th August. So total 15 days from 16th August, we will end or we will complete the project on 30th August, right? So what they are asking, the expected date of completion of the project will be 30th August 2026. So we need to put the figure as 30 in the final answer, right? So again, the easy question, we have just identified first the expected time and then find out the critical path. We have identified what is the project completion time, and then if the project is starting on 27 July, we have identified that the project will complete on the 30th August when there is a holiday on 15th August. So very easy question of construction project management. Question 46. Question 47. A socio-economic survey of a city is planned with a sample size of 1,250 persons, having the same proportion of age and sex distribution of the city population as given in the adjacent table. The required number of representative female respondents of the age group 19 to 40 years is how much? Right? In column 1, they have mentioned the age groups. Then the city population distribution, like what is the percentage of 0 to 6 age group. There are 2% of male population and 1.5% female population in the age group of 0 to 6, right? So we'll first assume that the city population is 10,000, right? We'll just assume that it is 10,000 because they have provided the city population distribution in percentage. We can assume any figure here. So we have just assumed that the population of the city is 10,000. So it means that as per the distribution of population given in the table, because there are 13.5% female population in the age group of 19 to 25. So what does it mean? If the population is 10,000, 13.5% of this population will be 1350. So that means there are 1350 females in age group of 19 to 25 per 10,000 population. So What is the sample size required? The sample size of females age group of 19 to 25 per 1250 population will be, just we need to do the cross multiplication, 1250 divided by 1 multiplied by 1350 divided by 10,000. So the sample size will be 168.75. So by doing rounding off, we'll get the sample size of particular this age group will be 169, right? Similarly, we will identify what is the sample size for the age group of females, uh, age group of 26 to 40 female population. So similar assumption, because the population is 10,000, percentage distribution of female population is 11%. So there will be, by doing this cross multiplication, we will get the sample size similar like this. I have just jumped into the next step. So the population size of female between age group 26 to 40, the sample size will be 137.50. Rounding off, we will get 138. So the sample size of both these age group, if the sample size is 1250, then the respondents of the age group 19 to 25 and 26 to 40 will be 169 plus 138, right? So by adding 1 and 2, the required number of representative female respondents of the age group 19 to 40 years for sample size of 1250 will be 169 plus 138, that will be equal to 307. So this is the final answer. As per the official answer key, the range of answer is between 305 to 307. Few students may have taken this as a rounding figure 169, and they may have ignored this 50, so they have taken 137 here. So their answer might be 306, which is also the correct one as per the official answer key. So 307 is the correct answer. We will get full marks for question 47. The next question, again the easier one. Question 48. An existing four-story building of identical floor plans was built by utilizing the maximum allowable FAR and maximum ground coverage of 50% in a plot of 500 meter square. Due to incentive zoning, the FAR of the plot has increased to 2.75. The maximum floor area in meter square that can be that that can now be added to the building is how much? We have to put the figure in the integer. Now, the first thing, as per the information, they have provided that plot area is 500 meters square and maximum ground coverage is 50%, right? So the maximum floor area which can be constructed, which can be consumed, because the ground coverage is 50%, we can consume maximum of 250 meters square, right? The remaining we have to keep as a open. Now let's assume that the present maximum allowable FAR is 2. You can assume any figure here. So assume present maximum allowable FAR is 2. So what will be the maximum floor area? It will be 500 divided by 500 multiplied by 2. That means 1000 meters square, right? Now, as per this condition, the FAR of the plot has been increased to 2.75 times, right? So, what will be the maximum floor area as per the revised FAR? It will be 500 multiplied by 2.75. So, that will be 1375 meter square. So, what is the net addition here? 1375 minus 1000. So, the maximum floor area that now can be added to the building is 1375 minus 1000, that is 375 meter square. So, this is the answer, right? So, very easy question. Question 48, I think more difficult questions or more tricky questions were asked in the previous question papers, but I think this was the easier one. Question 48 of GATE 2026. Question 49 is, the adjacent figure represents the plan and elevation of a square based prism of a base 4 centimeter by 4 centimeter. This is the prism which is having a base of 4 centimeter by 4 centimeter and height is 20 centimeter, which is given in this illustration. The prism is standing on the horizontal plane HP with its faces making an angle of 45 degrees. So it is making an angle of 45 degree with the vertical plane, right? A cutting plane perpendicular to VP divides the prism as shown in the figure. This is the cutting plane which is cutting the prism as shown in this figure. The surface area in centimeter square of the vertical faces of the prism below the cutting plane. We need to identify what is the surface area below this cutting plane. Now the first step we will do here is, we need to calculate the height of edge 2B. This is the edge 2B and then edge 4D, right? They have mentioned here this is age 1A, then this is 2B, and behind that that will be the age 4D, and the other visible age is 3C. So we need, because they have mentioned the age, the height at the cutting plane for this age 1A as 6 centimeter, for age 3C as 12 centimeter. We need to find out the cut height at age 2B and 4D. Now how we will calculate? These are the cutting plane is in a straight line in the elevation, right? So we can determine the height of the cut at each vertical edge. The first one, as I said, the cut height for age 1A is 6 centimeter. Similarly, the cut height for age 3C is 12 centimeter. Now, for age 2B and 4D in the plan view, these edges are located exactly halfway between the edges 1A and 3C, right? Because this is 6 centimeter, this is 12 centimeter, it is exactly at the half. So, because these edges are located exactly halfway between edges 1A and 3C in terms of horizontal distance along the VP, so therefore the cut height of these edges will be the average of both these ends. So average of 6 and average of 12 will be the cut height of those two edges, 2B and 4D, right? So what will be the average? 12 plus 6 will be 18. 18 divided by 2 will be the 9. So 9 is the cut height for these two edges, right? So now we will calculate the surface area of these vertical faces. The total surface area of the vertical faces will be sum of the areas of four trapezoidal faces. So first one is this one, the second one is this one, last one will be on this side, and other one will be on the rear side, right? So each face has a width of base which is common as 4 centimeter, the side of square base. So area of face 1, that is this one, right? The face which is having edges 1A and 4D, 1A and 4D, this face, right? So that will be half into sum of parallel sides divided by the sorry, my mistake, multiplied by the base. So that will be half into sum of parallel sides. So this is 6, this is 9, so 1 half into 6 plus 9 multiplied by base, that means 4. So area of face 1 will be 30 centimeter square. Similarly, area of face 2, that means between age 4D and 3C. So similar multiplication we will do, half into sum of parallel sides multiplied by base, that value will be 42 centimeter square. So similarly, because area of phase 3 will be similar to the area of phase 2, so that value again will be 42 centimeter square, and area of phase 4 will be same as area of phase 1, so that value will be 30 square centimeter. So total, what we need to find out, the surface area of the vertical faces of the prism below the cutting plane. So that will be simply the addition of 30 plus 42 plus 42 plus for 30. So the surface area of the vertical faces of the prism below the cutting plane will be 144 centimeter square. So 144 is the answer you need to put in the in your answer. So as per the answer key, only one single answer 144 square centimeter has been provided. So easy question, question 49. Part B of the question paper contains part B1, that is for architecture students, and part B2 for planning students. Now this is a general term that part B1 is for architecture students and B2 for planning students. Of course, the part B1 contains the architecture question, B2 contains the planning questions, but candidate can attempt any one of this section by his or her own choice. There is no separate score or ranking based on the choice of the selection of part B1 and B2. So let's begin from section B1 containing the architecture questions. So this portion contains 16 questions, and total weightage, total marks this section is carrying is 25. So first six question 50 to 56, they carry 1 mark each. Again, negative marking of 1/3 for wrong answer in case of MCQ, no negative marking for multiple select question and a numerical answer type question. So first say, these 7 questions, by mistake I said 6 questions. First 7 questions, total marks 7, 1 mark each. Question 50, the circular opening at the top of a dome is termed as which of the following? MCQ question, options are oculus, lantern, rose window, clear story. The similar question was earlier asked and explained in GATE 2023. You can check question 57 in set 1. Similarly, you can check UPSC CPWD Assistant Architect question paper, and therein question 36 was related to question 50 of GATE 2026, which you can read on your screen. Then the similar question was there in GATE 2009 at question 37. So multiple references were available. So selecting option A, that is oculus, which is the circular opening at the top of a dome, was not difficult one. Option A was the correct answer for question 50. Question 51, albedo is the ratio between which of the following? MCQ question. Option A, sensible heat and latent heat. Option B, reflected radiation and insolation. Option C, absolute humidity and saturation point humidity. Option D is indoor illumination and outdoor illumination. Now, albedo is definitely not related with the illuminations. Option D is the incorrect one. The reference or the exact same question was there in the previous question paper of GATE 2005. You can check question 11 in set 1, and you can refer GATE 2008 question 28 for more information related to the albedo. So here the correct option was option B, because the definition we have already provided in GATE 2005. So selecting option B was not difficult one if you have done the careful revisions of set 1. So the multiple references for this question also were there for the theory related to the albedo. What is albedo? It is the ratio of reflected radiation and the insolation. You can read more about albedo in those particular question papers in set 1. Question 52, setting out of the foundation is a process executed in at which of this stage? Option A says after the foundation execution. B says after the foundation concreting. C, before the foundation excavation. And D, before placing of plain beam reinforcement. Now, very easy question. I think most of you must be aware about this, that setting out of building foundation trenches, it is the process of laying down the excavation line and center line on the ground. As soon as you start your groundwork, first you mark the excavation line, depending upon what is the foundation size you have calculated, and then you start digging or you start excavation on the in the ground. So it is nothing but laying down the excavation line and center line on the ground. So the process, actually the setting out process of the foundation, it starts before the foundation excavation, which is given at option C. So the setting out process, it is also called as ground tracing, which is performed before commencing the excavation process. So option C was the correct answer. Easy question to answer. Question 52. Question 53. Which of the following statements about the elements of Islamic architecture is or are correct? It is a multiple select question. Option A, Mimar is a tower-like structure usually associated with the mosque or other religious building. Now, most of you must be aware that the tower-like structure in the Islamic architecture, it is called as a minaret. So option A is not the correct one. Mimar is not the correct terminology used for the tower-like structure. Then the question related to mashrabia, which is mashrabia is a wooden grill or a grate used to cover windows or balconies. The question related to mashrabia and option C, that is malkaf, which is a wind catcher, was earlier asked and explained in GATE 2022 at question 20. So these two elements, they are definitely related to the Islamic architecture. So option B and C are the correct one. What is D? Minbar is a type of pulpit usually found in mosque from which prayers and speeches are given. So this option is also the correct one. Now, what is minbar? It is a raised pulpit or a platform used by the imam. It is usually located next to mihrab. Now, what is mihrab? The question related to mihrab was also there in the one of the previous year question paper. It is the niche which is indicating the direction of Makkah. This minbar, it often has steps leading to a small seat or a platform. As you can see in this illustration, this minbar has steps leading to a small seat or platform, and which is traditionally made of wood, stone, or marble, and sometimes it is richly decorated. So option D is also the correct sentence, right? So here the correct sentence or the correct options in the multiple select question were option B, C, and D. Question 53, as the references of B and C were available, the third terminology which is mentioned at question 8, question D was the new one. So option B, C and D were the correct one. Option A is the incorrect one. Question 54, which of the following statements is or are correct with respect to temporary structures during construction? It is again multiple select question. Option A, centering supports formwork for arches, domes and slabs. The correct sentence. Option B, scaffolding provides working platform for masons. Yes, the correct one. Option C, shoring helps in preventing dampness in buildings. Absolutely, there is no relation related to the dampness in building and the shoring. So option D, C is the incorrect one. D, underpinning strengthens or deepens foundations. Option D is also the correct one. Now, what is meant by centering? Centering refers to the temporary support system provided to hold the structural elements in position until they gain the sufficient strength. Now, centering, generally this terminology is related to the support which is provided to the horizontal surfaces, for example slabs, beams, your domes, arches, etc. If the supports are provided to the vertical members like columns or walls, it is called as the shuttering, which you can see on the screen. Similarly, scaffolding is something that which provides the working platform for masons in the under construction buildings, right? So, which the option B is also the correct one. Option A is also the correct one. The question related to scaffolding, shoring, and underpinning, all these three terms which are given at option B, C, and D respectively, we have already discussed all these three terminologies in UPSC CPWD 2016 at question 92 and GATE 2015 at question 37. So I think identifying the incorrect option from these three options was not the difficult one. The third option says shoring helps in preventing dampness in building. Now the question asks the which are correct with respect to temporary structures during construction, and here option C says shoring helps in preventing dampness in building. There is no direct relation between the dampness and the temporary structures, right? So what is the correct term? Shoring helps. The correct statement for statement C is shoring helps to support a dilapidated or otherwise a unstable building by means of a horizontal or inclined members. We have discussed the illustration related to the shoring, underpinning and scaffolding in one of the previous year question paper. You can check those questions. I have not repeated all the information here to avoid the repetition. So here option C was the incorrect one. So the correct options for the correct answer is option A, B and D for this question 54. Again, easy question. Question 55, numerical answer type question. The outdoor and indoor temperature of a room are 18 degrees Celsius and 22 degrees Celsius respectively. There is also an internal heat gain of 5 kilowatt. Consider the volumetric heat capacity of air is 1300 joule per meter cube degree Celsius. Using the ventilation heat flow equation, the estimated rate of ventilation in meter cube per second is how much? We need to put the answer rounded off to 2 decimal places, and we have to assume that there is no other heat gains or losses and no net heat storage in space. Now, exactly the similar or same question was asked in UPSC MES 2019 at question 69, GATE 2014 at question 45. My suggestion will be before watching this solution, you can pause the video, check those particular question paper and those questions. Try to put your own values in that question and then try to solve this question. It will be easy for you to solve this particular question 55 of GATE 2026. Let's begin the solution of question 55. Heat energy in volume V of air per second is calculated by the formula that it is equal to volume of air per second multiplied by specific heat multiplied by the temperature difference. This formula we have already discussed in this previous year question paper. So what is information provided? The temperature difference they have mentioned it. The outdoor temperature is 18 and the indoor temperature is 22 respectively, right? So the temperature difference will be 22 minus 18 will be 4 degrees Celsius. Now the specific heat, they have provided the volumetric heat capacity of air which is given as 1300 joule per meter cube per degree Celsius. As we know that volume of air per second, that means it is the rate of ventilation, right? Rate of ventilation per second. As per the information given, there is an internal heat gain of 5 kilowatt. They have mentioned that there is also an internal heat gain of 5 kilowatt. So we'll just convert this 5 kilowatt into joules, right? Because here the volumetric heat capacity of air, they have mentioned the unit in terms of joules. So 5 kilowatt will be equal to 5 kilojoule per second. We will convert this kilojoule into joules, so we will just multiply by 1000, it will be 5000 joule per second, right? So this much amount of heat energy needs to be replaced by the ventilation, right? So by putting these values in equation 1, now we got the internal heat gain, right? Now we will put all this value in equation 1. So that will be, that means 5000 joule per second. This is the amount of volume of air per second we required uh, to remove by the rate of ventilation. It is unknown. We need to calculate. We need to find out the specific heat. It is already provided, which is 1300 joule per meter cube. The temperature difference we have calculated here, it is 4 degrees Celsius. So by solving this equation, you will get that the rate of ventilation will be 0.96 meter cube per second, right? So this is the final answer which is expected here. So the answer will be 0.96. Because they are asking rounded off to two decimal places, the answer will be 0.96. Question 56. A column transmits a load of 225 kilonewton to a square footing. The safe bearing capacity of the soil is 100 kilonewton per meter square. The minimum length in meter of the side of this safe square footing is how much, rounded off to one decimal place. Now the same question was earlier asked in GATE 2019 at question 22 and GATE 2018 at question 53. In fact, in previous year question paper, they have also provided the factor of safety for this particular similar question. Here in question 56, they have not provided. So this 56 question was more easier than the previous year question. So as per the information given, load on RCC column is 225 kilonewton. Then they have provided the safe bearing capacity of soil, which is 100 kilonewton per meter square. So the area of column footing will be total load divided by the soil bearing capacity, which is equal to 225 by 100. The the answer will be 2.25 square meter. Now because it is a square footing, the minimum length of the side of square footing will be the square root of 2.25, which is equal to 1.5 meter, right? So here the expected answer as per the final answer key is exactly 1.5. There is no range provided for this answer. So 1.5 is the only correct answer for question 56. From question 56 to 50, my mistake, from question 57 to question 65, these question they are carrying 2 marks each. Negative marking of 2/3 in case of wrong answer. In multiple choice question, no negative marking for MSQ and numerical answer type question. Question 57. Match the following architectural styles in group 1 with their corresponding examples in group 2. In group 1, they have mentioned the architecture styles. Group 2, they have mentioned the monuments or the famous buildings. And we have to correctly match that which building is particularly showing which architectural style. Now the information related to the illustration and architectural style as well as the respective architect of this particular building, Chrysler building situated at New York, we have discussed the illustration, the architecture style and the architect in recent GATE paper of GATE 2023 at question 56. You can check this particular question in set 1. So the first pair which we can select here is R2, right? This Chrysler building New York shows the Art Deco style, Art Deco architecture style. So R2 is the first correct pair, right? Which is given at only at option B and C. Option A and D does not show R2 as the figure as the pair. So option A and D are the incorrect one, right? In the remaining two options, P4 is the common pair. P4 is the common pair. So they have correctly matched Baroque with Palace of Versailles situated at Versailles. So P4 is the correct pair, right? It is the common pair. So it is also the correct one. We need to look at the pair which are matching with Q, and the architecture style which is mentioned at Q, and architecture style mentioned at S, and their respective building mentioned in group 2. So if you see the question related to Hagia Sophia, Istanbul, which is Byzantine style of architecture, the question related to this particular building have been asked multiple times in GATE 1991, ISRO 2018, then GATE 2015, GATE 2009. So the correct pair here will be Q1, right? So which is mentioned at option the B. So option C will be again the incorrect one. So here option B will be the correct one. Again, in addition, the question related to the Sagrada Familia Barcelona, which is designed by Antero Gaudi, and the architectural style associated with this particular building is Art Nouveau. So S5 is also the correct pair. You can also select. You can also start selecting the correct pair from this building also. So S5, which is mentioned at option A and B. So you can also start matching the pair from one of these pair also. So again, option B will be the correct option for this first match the pair question 57. Question 58, match the names of the following historic palaces in group 1 with their corresponding locations in group 2. In group 1 they have mentioned Ujjanta, Umaid Bhavan, or Jahangir Mahal, S. Harinivas. In group 2, they have mentioned the locations. Now, just focus on the very famous building. I think most of you must be aware about this Umaid Bhavan, which is situated at Jodhpur, right? So, the very famous building here is the first pair you can match is Umaid Bhavan, which is situated at Jodhpur. So, Q5 is the first correct pair, right? Then, which is the other one? So option B and C, so my mistake, option A and C will be the incorrect one, because the Q5 pair is at option B and D. We need to look out for the other pairs only from these two options B and D, right? Now, if you see at the remaining pair, the first pair which is mentioned at uh, option B is P3. That means they are saying Ujjanta is it is situated at Jaipur. Now, if you are aware about the famous monuments in Jaipur, it includes the Hawa Mahal, then it includes the Amer Fort and the Jantar Mantar. So Ujjaintai, definitely it is not situated in Jaipur. That means P3 is again the incorrect one. So you can select that, yes, P4, which is if you are not aware about the Ujjainta, this particular palace, that where it is situated, then you can also apply this kind of logic that this Ujjainta is definitely not situated in Jaipur, because it is not one of the monuments which is situated in Jaipur. So P3 is the incorrect one. So the option D, it correctly shows that Ujjanta it is situated at Agartala. The architecture style for this particular palace is Indo-Saracenic architecture style. Umaid Bhavan, it is also the similar architecture style. Then the R, that is Jahangir Mahal, it is situated in Orcha, that is in Madhya Pradesh. The architecture style is Indo-Islamic architecture style. The palace which is mentioned at S, Harinivas, it is associated with the last king of Kashmir, known as Raja Hari Singh, and the monument, the palace is situated in Jammu. So S2 is also the correct pair as per option D. So option D was the only correct answer for this question 58. The architectural style of Harinivas is Art Deco architectural style. You can just, in case some that the question may be asked in near future that the Harinivas is of which architecture style. So you can always note down the architectural styles associated with these palaces. Question 59, as per National Building Code of India 2016, match the types of glass in group 1 with their corresponding descriptions in group 2. In group 1, they have mentioned the type of glasses. In group 2, they have mentioned the descriptions. We need to identify the correct pairs from these given four options. Now, the question related to the insulating glass unit was earlier asked and explained. You will find the illustration as well as the explanation in UPSC CPWD 2015 at question 3 in set 1. So, first pair which you can select here is R1 is the correct pair. So it means that option A and option D are the incorrect option, right? The next pair which you can select is tempered fire resistant glass. Now the question related to this tempered glass was there in ISRO 2020 at question 47, where it is used. Generally, what is the or no, what is mean by the temper fire resistant glass? The glass which breaks into granular fragments with no large sharp edges. Where it is generally used, it is used in the windshield of the vehicles. So in case of any breakage, it won't harm the passengers, right? So Q5 is the correct pair, which is given at option C. So option B will also be the incorrect one, right? So you can select option C as the correct answer. Further, the reference related to all these types of glass, right, and their respective description was also there in the set 2 of Architect's Guidebook, that under section B 1.2, under the heading of building construction and structural system, and under the subsection of 1.2.5.7 glass. You will find the descriptions of all these types of glasses, and you will find that all these descriptions, they are exactly matching with the information already provided in set 2. So here option C was the correct answer for question 59. Question 60, which of the following statements is or are correct in the context of steel construction? It is multiple select question. Option A, weathered steel forms a rust-like layer when exposed to weathering. Option B, intumescent paints on steel sections improve passive fire protection. Option C, for the same weight, steel I-beam has more flexure bearing capacity in comparison to castle beam, steel beam. Option D is outrigger system provide additional torsional rigidity against lateral loads in tall structures. Now the information or the question related to the weather steel and intumescent paints on steel section, this has been asked for the first time. So the statement A says weathered. It is the correct statement. Now, what is weathered steel? The weathered steel, that it is chemically formulated to develop a protective patina layer, which is a rust-like layer, and it has a appearance like a rust, which eliminates the need for the paint. Right. So the dense oxide patina layer of weathered steel seals it from the atmosphere. So option A is the correct statement. Option B says intumescent paints on steel section improve passive fire protection. This is also this is also the correct sentence. Now, intumescent fire resistant materials, IFRM, they are known as intumescent coatings or intumescent paint provide which are provided which provide highly effective passive fire protection to steel as well as the timber members. They are applied in thin layers to substrate materials such as steel, wood, drywall, or concrete. The paints, when exposed to heat or flames, quickly expand or form a char that reduces the transfer of heat from the fire to the underlying substrate, which thereby acting as an insulating layer and delaying the time it takes for the structure to fail. So you will get sufficient time to apply the fire resistant material, to apply to extinguish the fire. So for that purpose, the this intumescent paints are being applied on the steel section to improve that fire passive fire protection. Option C, for the same weight, steel I-beam has more flexure bearing capacity in comparison to castle beam. Now, uh, the correct sentence would have been, for the same weight, this castle steel beam has more flexure bearing capacity than the steel I-beam, right? So castle beam is made by cutting and rejoining an I-beam, which increases its depth, right? You can search about what is the type of castle beam. So it increases the depth without adding any extra weight. So greater the depth provides the higher section modulus, right? And thus it provides the higher flexural bending capacity. So for the same weight, the corrected statement would have been, for the same weight, a castle beam has more flexure bearing capacity than the normal I beam. So option C is the incorrect one. Option D, the information related to this outrigger system, where the buildings where this outrigger system have been provided, we have already discussed in GATE 2021 at question 36 and GATE 2005 at question 6. So option D is also the correct statement. So here the three options which are correct are option A, B, and D for this multiple select question of question 60. Question 61, again the easier one. The different parts of a parapet wall and terrace section are labeled as P, Q, R, S, T. Which of the following is or are correct? We need to match the correct label with that terminology. Option A says P is coping, which is the correct one. And option C and D says P is the vent pipe. Now, absolutely there is no relation that it correctly shows the P as the coping. So option C and D are the incorrect one, right? Because it shows P as the vent pipe. Now this is not the vent pipe, right? So P, the question related to the coping, what is coping, was previously asked in UPSC CPWD 2016 at question 6. You can see that we have already discussed the illustration in that particular question. So in option A, R, they are mentioning R as the lime terracing, which is correct one, and S as the rainwater downtake pipe. Yes, so option A is the correct one. Option B says Q is the drip course, so which is provided at the bottom of coping so that the water, the rainwater which is coming, it will not flow on the parapet wall. It will drop down from this drip course, right? So Q is the drip course, which is again the correct term. S is the rainwater pipe, which is also mentioned at option A, which is the correct pair. T is the roof slab, which is again the correct one. So option C and D are incorrect because they have mentioned P as the vent pipe. So it is the incorrect one. Q as the drip course, it is correct, but because this is not the correct pair, P, it is not. R, they are mentioning it is not the roof slab. T is the roof slab, right? So don't need to look at the other pairs. The first pair itself is the incorrect one. So here the correct options are option A and option B. Question 62, numerical answer type question. A building facade has 48 meter square of glazing area. The properties of glass used in the glazing are as follows. The U value is given as 5.2 watt per meter square degree Celsius. Light to solar gain, that is LSG ratio, is 1.5. Visual light transmittance VLT, it is mentioned as zero point 0.6. What is the more information? The average solar radiation on the glazing is 400 watt per meter square. If the outdoor and indoor set point temperature are 35 degrees Celsius and 20 degrees Celsius respectively, then the total heat gain in kilowatt through the glazing by conduction and radiation is how much? The answer they are expecting, in which will be rounded off to two decimal places. Now, the similar question was earlier asked in GATE 2009 at question 55. You can check this particular question in set 1. What is the information already provided? Area of glass facade, they have mentioned it is A, the value of A is 48 meter square. The temperature difference, that is delta T, will be 35 minus 20, which will be 15 degrees Celsius. U value they have mentioned as 5.2 watt per meter square degree Celsius. So this information has been provided. So by the formula which we have already discussed in this question 55 upgrade 2009, the heat gain by conduction, that is QC, will be multiplication of U value, area, and temperature difference. So that means U into A into T, delta T. So 5.2, the value of U value, which is already provided, 5.2 multiplied by area 48 multiplied by the temperature difference, that is 15. So the multiplication will be 3744 watts. So you need to convert this into into kilowatts. So because the answer expected, it is in kilowatts, so it will be 3.744 kilowatt. Now this is only the heat gain by the conduction. We need to find out the heat gain by the radiation, right? So what is the definition of solar heat gain coefficient, which we have already discussed in GATE 2021 at question 45. So the definition is the solar heat gain factor, SHGC. It is factor or coefficient. It is the ratio of solar heat gain that passes through the fenestration or surface to the total incident solar radiation that falls on the fenestration, right? So here, as per the information, light to solar gain, they have provided the ratio as 1.5, and visual light transmittance they have provided as a zero point 0.6. What we can say that solar heat gain, it will be the ratio of visual light transmitted, that is VLT, divided by the uh, this LSG, that is light to solar gain. So the value of SHGC, that is solar heat gain coefficient, we will get 0.6 divided by 1.5. So SHGC will be the 0.4, right? Now heat gain by solar radiation, which will be equal to solar heat gain coefficient multiplied by average solar radiation multiplied by the area. So here the value will be zero point 0.4. We have just calculated the value of solar heat gain coefficient. It is coming zero point 0.4 multiplied by the average solar radiation, which is given in the question, right? So it is 4 multiplied by 400 multiplied by 48. The area we have already um, uh, which is provided in the question. So the value of heat gain by solar radiation will be 7680 watts. Now you can again convert this 7680 watt into kilowatt. That will be 7.680. So this is the heat gain by solar radiation. We have calculated solar heat gain by conduction. So sum of these two figures will be the final answer, that is the heat gain in kilowatts through glazing by conduction and radiation. So the unit of answer is expected in kilowatts. So we have just converted this 7680 watt into kilowatt. That will be 7.680 kilowatt. So the addition of 7.680 plus 3.744, the addition will be 11.424. We want the answer rounded off to two decimal places, so we just ignore the last four. So the final answer we can put as 11.42. As per official answer key, the range of answer is between 10 to 13. So our answer is in between range. We'll get the full marks for this question. Question 43. An overhang beam ABC is loaded with uniformly distributed load UDL throughout its entire span as shown in the adjacent figure. The intensity of UDL is 12 kilonewton per meter. The bending moment at an intermediate point P between A and B is found to be 0. The length in meter of the portion AP is how much? The answer should be rounded off to two decimal places. What is the information provided? First, they have provided the value of UDL, which is 12 kilonewton per meter. Total span of the beam is 6 plus 2, that is 8 meter. So we can find out the total load, which will be 12 into 8, right? UDL multiplied by the span, we will get the total load, which will be equal to 96 kilonewton. Step 1, we will calculate the end reactions. What is the RA and what is the RB? So taking moments about A, we can take that RB into 6, RB into this 6 equal to 96. We have just calculated total load as 96 kilonewton multiplied by the, what is the total span? 6 plus 2, it is 8. So half of that will be 4. So taking moments about A will be equal to RB into 6 will be equal to 96 into 4. So we will get the value of RB as 64 kilonewton. So if RB is 64 kilonewton, you will find out that RA will be equal to 96 minus 64. It will be 32 kilonewton. Now what they are asking, the bending moment at this particular point between A and B, that bending moment they have provided at it is 0, and we need to find out what is the exact location of that point from X, from this that point which is we can name it as X point, and we need to find out the distance from that particular this end point, point A. So as per the information given, the bending moment at an intermediate point, I just said it is 0, that it is in between point A and B, right? So assume that the distance AP is X. So as per the info given, the bending moment at that particular point is 0. So we can write that the bending moment at X equal to RA into the X, right? The reaction at at point A into X, which will minus WX square. That means uh, the UDL, that is W value, we are already this value is known, 12 kilonewton per meter into X, the distance we are not aware about right now, divided by 2, right? So here, if we put the values of mx, which is 0, ra we have just calculated, it is 32 kilonewton. So we can find out the value of x by putting the value of mx as 0, ra as 32. We can find out again the value of w is known, which is 12. So we can we can solve this equation, and we will find out the value of x will be 5.33 meter. So this is the answer, final answer you can put in your final answer. As per official answer key, the range of answer is 5.10 to 5.50. Our answer is in between range, so it is correct one. We will get full marks. Question 64. A conference room of sizes 25 meter by 12 meter is illuminated by CFL having efficacy of 60 lumen per watt. The lighting power density LPD of the room is 12 watt per meter square. If the utilization and maintenance factors are zero point 0.8 and zero point 0.5 respectively, then the estimated illumination level in lux of the conference room is how much in integer. Now the similar question was earlier asked and explained in GATE 2019 at question 21, GATE 2015 at question 52, GATE 2003 at question 52. You can check these particular questions in the set 1. Try to solve this question on your own. What is light power density? It is defined as the watts of lighting per square unit area of room floor area. It is used as screening measure to identify the possible measures for energy saving. You can the question may be asked based on the this information provided, that light power density is defined as which of the following options. So please note down this important information. As per information given, the area of the room they have mentioned it, the size they have mentioned it is 25 meter by 12 meter. So the area will be 25 multiplied by 12, it will be 300 meter square. Light power density they have mentioned LPD, it is equal to 12 watt per meter square. Lamp efficacy they have mentioned 60 lumen per watt, and utilization factor and maintenance factor have been provided as zero point 0.8 and zero point 0.5 respectively. Now the first step will be we need to calculate the total power consumed, right? So here they are saying that the light power density is 12 watt per meter square. So if we multiply by this area, that is 300 meter square, we will get the total power consumed, right? So it will be LPD, light power density, multiplied by the area. Light power density, the value is 12 multiplied by 300, will get the total power consumed is 3600 watts, right? In step 2 we will calculate the total luminous flux produced by the CFL with the efficacy of 60 lumen per watt, right? So what we need to do, we need to just multiply this 3600 with the luminous flux of a particular lamp, one particular lamp. So the total luminous flux will be power, that is 3600 multiplied by the efficacy of a one single CFL. So that will be 216000 lumens, right? Now, how to calculate the actual light reaching the work plane? You need to just multiply this 216000 by the utilization factor and the maintenance factor. So the actual light reaching the working plane is adjusted by the utilization factor and the maintenance factor. So it will be this total multiplied by the utilization factor multiplied by the maintenance factor. So if you multiply this by using the scientific calculator, you will get the value of the actual light reaching the working plane. It will be 86400 lumens. Now in last step we need to calculate the illumination level, right? So illumination level, what is the formula? The illumination level E in lux is the useful luminous flux per unit area, right? So here we have identified the lumens. We need to just divide this figure with the total area. You will get the illumination level E in lux, right? So by using the scientific calculator, we will divide the 86400 by 300. You will get the answer as 288 lux, right? So there is no range provided for this particular answer. The only correct answer as per the final answer key is 288. Bit lengthy, there the reference was readily available. In 4 steps you could have calculated what is the elimination level for that particular conference room. Question 65, the second last question of this particular optional section. The built up area of a shopping mall is 12,000 meters square, and the percentage share of annual energy consumption from various sources is shown in the adjacent table. The estimated average monthly solar energy consumption of the building is 10 megawatt per hour. The building energy index BEI of the shopping mall in kilowatt hour per meter square per year is how much in integer. In in first column they have provided the energy source and how much is the percentage share of that annual energy consumption. Like from the electricity from the grid is 52%, the diesel for the additional power is 30%, LPG for food court is 10% of the annual energy, and solar energy is the 8% of the total share of the annual energy consumption. Step 1, we will calculate the total annual energy consumption. Okay. So what they have provided, first the built up area have been provided as 12,000 meters square. Also the average solar monthly solar energy consumption, it is mentioned as the estimated average monthly solar energy consumption of the building is 10 megawatt hour, right? So the annual solar energy consumption for the entire built up area will be 10 divided by 10 multiplied by 12, which will be 120 megawatt hour per year, right? Annual, we have just multiplied with the total number of months, right? Here they have mentioned estimated average monthly solar energy consumption, right? So if we multiply it by 12, you will get this annual energy consumption, annual solar energy consumption, which will be 120 megawatt hour per year. Now what they have mentioned, this solar energy, right, it is 8%. This solar energy is only 8% of total annual consumption. Now we can say that this 120 megawatt hour per year is 8% of the total annual energy consumption. So if 120 is 8%, what is 100%? You just need to do the cross multiplication. The total annual energy consumption will be 1500 megawatt hour per year, right? The unit of answer is expected in kilowatt. So this 1500 megawatt hour per year should be converted to the kilowatt hour per year, right? So as we know that 1 megawatt is equal to 1000 kilowatt. So 1500 megawatt hour per year will just simply write, will not write 1500 multiplied by 1000. Here we just keep it as 1500 in multiplied by 10 raised to 3 10 raised to 3 uh, kilowatt hour per year, right? By mistake I have written hour per hour, so it is kilowatt hour per year. Now we need to calculate the building energy index. Now how we can calculate the building energy index? It is defined as the annual energy consumption divided by the total built up area. So here we have calculated that the annual total annual energy consumption is 1500 multiplied by 10 raised to 3, the total built up area. Because why I have kept it as a 10 raised to power 3, here you can see that the area is 12,000 meters square. So we can simply write 12 into 10 raised to 3. So 10 raised to 10 raised to 3 will get cancelled. The calculation 1500 divided by 12, it will give you a figure of 125 kilowatt hour per meter square per year. So this is the final answer which is expected in the answer. So as per the official answer key, the range of answer is 115 to 125. Our answer is in between the range. The answer is correct, we'll get full marks. So this was the last question of first optional section, which is containing the architecture question. From question 66 onwards, the question related to the planning topics will start. So we'll start from question 66 for the next section, that is B2 section. Similar like section B1, this part B2 contains 16 questions. First 7 questions carry 1 mark each, and the remaining 9 questions carry 2 mark each. So the total marks this section has the weightage of 25 marks. So question 66 to question 72, they carry 1 mark each, negative marking of one third in case of a multiple choice question. So question 66 is, as per India's National Transit Oriented Development TOD policy 2017, radius of the influence zone around the transit stations for developing compact growth centers is in the range of how many meters? This is a MCQ question. Options are 300 to 400 meter. Option B 500 to 800 meter. Option C 600 to 800 meter. Option D 400 to 600 meter. Now we have just discussed the similar question wherein the Charles Perry has defined what is the walking distance. It is the 1/4 mile. So as per the TOD policy, TOD focuses on creation of high density mixed land use development in the influence zone of transit stations, that is within the walking distance, which is mentioned as 500 to 800 meter in the TOD policy. 500 to 800 meter from the transit station, right? So here the correct option was option B. What are the other goals? TOD, it integrates the land use and transport planning, and it aims to develop planned sustainable urban growth centers having walkable and livable communities with high density mixed land use. This is very important aspect, high density and mixed land use. Then the third goal is TOD promotes densification in the influence area by providing higher floor area ratio, that is FAR, or it is also called as floor space index FSI, and higher population, higher job density as compared to the area around and beyond the influence areas, right? So to ensure the sustainable development, the minimum FAR the TOD policy focusing is in the range of 300 to 500%, and it can be higher also than 300 to 500. Then the next goal is TOD focuses on mix of uses within the TOD zone, and it can be achieved either by horizontal mixing, that is mixed land use at the horizontal level, that is separate activities in separate plots, buildings, or the other option will be the vertical mixing, that is combining different activities within the same building. So these are the some key highlights or objectives of India's National Transit Orient Development Policy, that is TOD policy 2017. So here the correct option is option B, 500 to 800 meter. Question 67, the data type used in the digital elevation model, that is DEM, is which of the following? Either it is a raster data, or it is a vector data, it is a tabular data, rating data. Now tabular and rating are definitely the incorrect one. The reference was there related to this question in GATE 2021 at question 4, as well as in GATE 2017, in which we have discussed what is the difference between the raster data and vector data. Earlier also the question based on this, the difference between raster data and vector data have been asked. So here you can read that the raster data, this can be the images with each pixel containing a color value, right? And here you can read it that aerial photos are commonly used form of raster data with only one purpose, to display a detailed image on a map. Other raster data sets will contain information regarding elevation, for example, DEM, that is digital elevation model, or reflectance of a particular wavelength of light is type of a raster data. So here, because we have just read the information in the previous question paper of GATE 2021 at question 4, I think selecting option A was not difficult ones. Here option E is the correct answer. Question 68, the adjacent graph shows cumulative population in percentage on the x-axis and cumulative income in percentage on the y-axis. If A and B are areas as shown in the graph, then the Gini coefficient is measured as which of the following options? Now exactly the similar question was earlier asked, and we have explained it in set 1 in the question paper of GATE 2022 at question 49, as well as the reference was there in GATE 2008 at question 17. You can check this particular question papers and that particular question to get the answer about the question, the answer of question 68 of GATE 2026. So here the correct option was the the area which is below this equity line plus divide by total area, that is area A plus area B, right? So here option E is the correct answer. You there was a direct reference available, you have read the information related to what is Gini coefficient, so I think selecting option A was not difficult one. So here option A was the correct answer. Question 69. In India, which of the following missions is or are part of the National Action Plan on Climate Change, that is NAPCC 2008? Options were National Mission for Sustaining the Himalayan Ecosystem, option B National Urban Livelihood Mission, option C National Water Mission, option D Swachh Bharat Mission. Now, if you focus on the options which are mentioned at option B and option C, the livelihood mission and Swachh Bharat mission, they are not related to the climate change, right? So I think option selecting option A and C as your answer will be very easy task here. What is national action plan on climate change? It outlines a national strategy that aims to enable the country to adopt the climate change. The question based on what is Paris agreement, what are the different conferences held related to the climate change. The question related to all these have been asked previously in previous question papers. So here, to achieve the targets, global targets related to the climate change, India has adopted the National Action Plan on Climate Change, which is called as NAPCC. And what are the which are the missions under this action plan? There are 8 missions, namely National Solar Mission, then National Mission for Enhanced Energy Efficiency, then National Mission on Sustainable Habitat, National Water Mission. Now this National Water Mission, it has been mentioned in option C. So this is the correct mission under National Action Plan on Climate Change. Then fifth one is National Mission for Sustaining the Himalayan Ecosystem, which you can see it is given at option A. So this is also the correct one. Then sixth is National Mission for a Green India. Seventh mission is National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture, and eighth mission is National Mission on Strategic Knowledge for Climate Change. So as I said, B and D are the incorrect options. The correct options for this question 69, were option A and C. Question 70. Which of the following options is or are means of first and last mile connectivity with respect to urban transit system? MSQ question, more than one option can be correct. So options are park and ride, option B intermediate public transport, option C public bicycle sharing, option D intercity high speed rail. Again, the easy question. All these options, park and ride, intermediate public transport, public bicycle sharing, these are related to your last mile connectivity. Whereas intercity high speed rail, this is not something which is facilitating the people within the city, right? Intercity high speed rail, it will connect two cities. So park and ride, that means you can park your vehicle, take the rapid transit system, and then go to your destination. Similarly, intermediate public transport, the what is the last mile connectivity? Try to use maximum public transport, right? So intermediate public transport availability is one of the major goal for the to achieve the last mile connectivity. Then public bicycle sharing, if you read the TOD policy also, it is also suggesting all these three kind of arrangement to provide the best last mile connectivity with respect to urban transit system. So option D is the incorrect one. All these three options A, B and C are the correct one. So here ABC will be the correct options for question 70. Question 71. Based on Greenshield's model, a speed density relationship is developed on the data of a traffic stream. This relationship is represented as V equal to 75 minus 0.03 k, where V in kilometer per hour is the mean speed at density k in terms of vehicle per kilometer. The jam density in vehicle per kilometer of this traffic stream is how much? And we have to put the answer in integer. Now, the similar question was earlier asked and it was explained in GATE 2019 at question 44 in set 1. So here, the numerical answer type question, this 71 is very easy. As we have already explained in GATE 2019, the question paper and the question I have just mentioned. What is mean by jam density? The jam density flow will be zero, because at the jam density, vehicles will not move from the particular place, right? All the traffic will be standstill traffic. So it means that the mean speed, that is V velocity at the jam density, will be 0 kilometer per hour, because just I said that vehicles are not moving at all, right? So as per the given information, the relationship between speed density is V equal to 75 minus 0.03 k, right? This equation they have mentioned. So what we'll do, we'll put the value of V as 0 because it is a jam density. In this equation, we will get that 0.03 k equal to 75. So the value of k will be 2500 vehicle per kilometer, right? So this is the answer. What is the the density, jam density? It will be 2500 vehicle per kilometer. When the density will reach 2500 vehicle per kilometer, vehicle will not move from that place and it will create the jam density. So very easy question. In just 3 steps we have solved this numerical answer type question. Question 72. In a particular year, the status of consolidated funds of India is shown in the table below. For the given data, the fiscal deficit of that year, rupees in crores, is how much, and the value should be in integer. Now, this table have been provided on the left side. The receipts under various heads have been mentioned, and the amount in rupees amount, that is rupees in crores, have been mentioned in the second column. On the right side, this is the expenditure, right? So what is mean by fiscal deficit? Fiscal deficit means total expenditure minus the total non-debt receipts. Now the total expenditure, it excludes your debt repayment, right? So here what you need to do, just do the addition of these three figures, the expenditure, do the addition of these three figures, that is your receipt minus the amount expenditure, minus, that is the total of these three figures minus total of these three figures will give you the total fiscal deficit, right? So total expenditure excluding the debt repayment, it will be 3,75,582 crores plus 31,295 plus 38,614. That's total will be 4,45,491. The total non-debt receipts, you will not consider this public debt, right? So it will be 2,65279 plus 3,646 plus 20,733. You can use the calculator. The sum will be 2,89,658. So as we have just discussed the formula to find out the fiscal deficit, fiscal deficit will be 4,45,491 minus 2,89,658. The figure will be 1,55,833. So this is the answer which was expected in the final answer key. Question 73 onwards, these are the 2 marks question. In case of MCQ, again negative marking of 2/3. First few questions are again the match the pair question. Question 73, match the following zoning in group 1 with their characteristics in group 2. In group 1 they have mentioned form based zoning, then Euclidean zoning, inclusionary zoning, and S performance zoning. Group 2, their characteristics have been mentioned. Now first, if you consider or if you focus on uh, the zoning which is mentioned at serial number R in group 1, it says inclusionary zoning. So what does it mean? That the zoning, it is taking care of all the sectors of the society, that is the urban poor, it includes the spaces to be provided, the zoning to be provided for the urban poor or the economical weaker section. So R2 is the first correct pair, right? In option B and C, they have matched R with 4. That is, encourage developers to build community amenities in lieu of surplus FAR. Now, this is not something which is called as a inclusionary zoning. So, R2 is the correct option. So, option B and C will be the incorrect one. Then the what are the other options here? Option A says P5, that means form based zoning. They have matched with create a public realm by guiding the building envelope considering the community's unique characteristics. Now this is the correct pair. Option D says they have matched form based zoning with regulates development by assessing the impacts of land use. Now this is not the correct pair, right? The correct pair is form based zoning. It correctly describes creating a public realm by guiding the building envelope considering the community's unique characteristics, right? So here option A will be the correct one. I have discussed, I have described all these types of zoning in the explanation. You can pause the video and read about this form based zoning, Euclidean zoning, and the remaining terms like inclusionary zoning and performance zoning, etc. So I will skip this explanation. You can pause the video and you can watch the description. which is already provided. Question 74, match the following strategies in group 1 with their corresponding descriptions in group 2. Group 1, they have mentioned transfer of development rights at serial number P, betterment levy at serial number Q, then R says viability gap funding, S is vacant land tax. In group 2, the descriptions have been provided. Now the first pair which we can match is the question related to transfer of development rights have been asked multiple times. This about the question related to this concept was earlier asked, and it was also explained in GATE 2024 question 74, GATE 2017 question 49, GATE 2011 at question 12, GATE 2009 question 47, and so on. You can pause the video, you can check the all these questions in set 1. So the first pair which we can match is transfer of development rights. It correctly described as the award of additional FAR in different location in exchange of land for public purpose. So P3 will be the first correct pair. So here what we can see, P3, the pair is correctly mentioned at option A, option C and option D. So option B will be the incorrect option. Next, the question related to the betterment levy, the strategy of betterment levy. The question was earlier asked and explained in GATE 2021 at question 18, right? So it is correctly described as betterment levy is correctly described as one-time fee to recover investment for enhanced public infrastructure, right? So Q4 is the next correct pair, which we can see it is provided in in only option D. Option C says Q1, option A says Q2. So both these options, A and C, will be the incorrect one. Your only correct option is option D. Then I have also explained the viability gap funding. It means that what does mean by viability gap funding? It is financial support by the government for public private partnership projects. If in case there is some gap between the private partnership is not able to fully fund the project, then government will additionally provide whatever the gap the private partner is not able to fulfill. Then government will add his own fund, and that is called as the viability gap funding. The last term, that is vacant land tax, it is correctly described as the tax imposed on unused or underdeveloped plots in order to avoid um, the illegal encroachment on those underdeveloped plots. So vacant land tax is correctly matched with description provided at 2. So your option D is the only correct answer for this question 74. Question 75, match the following types of plans in group 1 with their corresponding scope in group 2 in accordance with the URDPFI guidelines 2015. In group 1 they have mentioned perspective plan, Q regional plan, R development plan, S local area plan. And in group 2 they have mentioned the description or the scope of that particular plan. Now, the question related to all these plans was there in GATE 2024 at question 71 and GATE 2004 at question 44, in which I have explained all these. What is the goal year? What is the description? What is included in perspective plan? What is included in regional plan? Everything was explained already in GATE 2024 at question 71 and GATE 2004 at question 44. So the first pair which we can match is perspective plan. It is for a state. It is for a complete state. So what does it mean? What does it include? It includes a vision or a policy framework for urban and regional development. As I just said, perspective plan, the plan year is 25 years. The question related to this was also asked. So P3 is the first correct pair, where perspective plan it is correctly described as to develop a vision and provide policy framework for urban and regional development. So option A and option D will be the incorrect one, right? Then next, development plan. What does mean by development plan? It is correctly described at serial number 5. Development plan includes preparation of plans for urban areas and peri-urban areas under the control of Metropolitan Planning Committee. Now, if you see option C, they have matched development plan with the description mentioned at serial number 2 here, right? So development plan, it does not it is not described as detailed subcity land use plan and integrate with urban infrastructure. Development plan does not include subcity land use, right? So what is the correct nomenclature for this subcity land use? It is the local area plan, which is correctly mentioned at option B. So here option C will be also the incorrect option, right? So the only correct option will be option B. Then you can again see that the correct description for regional plan, they have correctly mentioned as to identify resources for development and planning for settlements prepared and regulated by district planning committee. Then the remaining option, as I said, just explain local area plan. It means to detail out the subcity land use plan and integrate with urban infrastructure. So S2 is also the correct pair. Here we have identified option B as the correct answer. Option C, again the easy question, which of the following is or are correct labeling of PQRS with respect to the urban pattern shown in the adjacent diagram? This diagram was provided and we have to correctly match that which settlement correctly shows the urban pattern. Let's focus on option A. Uh, P is organic. P is organic. Yes, definitely. R is the linear one. Yes, it is the ribbon development, or you can also call it as a linear development. So option A is the correct one. Option B, P is organic. Yes, and Q is linear. Now Q is not the linear one. It is the gridiron pattern, right? So which is correctly mentioned at option C. So option B will be the incorrect one because they have incorrectly matched the pair that Q is linear. Here Q is gridiron, which is correctly mentioned at option C. S is radial. Yes, this is the concentric city. So S, the radial development is the correctly mentioned at option C. Option D says Q is organic. Now Q is not organic. It is the gridiron pattern, and R is radial. This is also not the correct one. This is the linear development or the ribbon development. So only correct option will be option A and C. I think this was one of the easiest question in part B2. Question 77. Which of the following is or are passive remote sensing techniques? Options are sonar, radar, aerial photos, and Landsat images. Now, the difference between what is active remote sensing and what is passive remote sensing was already explained in set 2 of Architect's Guidebook for competitive exam in section B 2.2, planning techniques and management. Under the subsection 2.2.1, in the application of GIS and remote sensing techniques in urban and regional planning. What was the explanation provided? You can see you can correctly select the options for this question 77 from this explanation. Active remote sensing, it includes active sensors which are used to provide their own energy sources. So sonar and radar, they provide their own energy source to capture the data. On the other side, the passive remote sensing, passive sensors are used which measure the energy that is naturally available. So for aerial photos and Landsat images, you don't need a separate energy source, right? So, but for sonar and radar, you need their own energy source. So here, which of the following are passive remote sensing techniques? Then aerial photos and Landsat images, these are the passive remote sensing techniques, whereas sonar and radar, these are the active remote sensing techniques, right? So here the correct option will be option C and D. Easy one, the explanation was readily available. So option C and D will be the correct answer for question 77. Question 78. A capital investment of rupees 60,000 has been made at present, expecting an annual return of rupees 20,000 at the end of each year for a period of 5 years. If the annual discount rate is 5%, then the net present value, that is NPV in rupees, is how much? You need to put the answer rounded off to the nearest integer. Now, the question based on the NPV formula, the net present value, was earlier asked and explained in GATE 2025, recent the last year question paper at question 43, and GATE 2022 at question 81. Both these papers are the recent exam papers. You can check these related numerical answer type question in set 1 of Architect's Guidebook. So what is net present value? The net present value, NPV, it is the algebraic sum of the present value of the expected incremental values and the negative net cash flows over a project anticipated lifetime. And the formula to calculate the NPV is NPV is equal to, it is the summation of all the cash flows minus the initial investment, right? Where what does it mean by the cash flows, that is CT? um, these are the annual cash flows you are getting after investing in a particular project. So that can be negative, it can be zero, or it can be positive. R is the discount rate at which you have funded the project, right? It can be the interest rate you are paying to the bank, etc. It is the interest rate of the cost of capital I have just mentioned. T is the expected life of the project, that is in it is in number of years. INV, it is the initial investment. So simply it is the summation of all the cash flows during the life of the project minus initial investment will give you the net present value of that project. As per the information in the question, the annual return, that is cash inflow, is same throughout the 5 years. They have mentioned that it is expecting an annual return of 20,000. There is no incremental cash flow during those 5 years. The cash flow is same, so it is the ordinary annuity. The cash flow is same, so we can call this as a ordinary annuity. It is not the incremental annuity. So the formula for the ordinary annuity formula is to calculate the present value is with annual return A for n number of year with a discount rate R is on your screen. That is PV, means present value equal to A multiplied by bracket 1 minus, in bracket 1 plus R bracket raised to minus n divided by R, right? So you just need to put all these values which are given in the question. The present value of the annuity 20,000 for 5 years will be, as I just explained the formula, PV, that means present value of by annual return of 20,000, the value of A is 20,000, multiplied by, in bracket, 1 minus 1 plus 0.05, because the discount rate is 5%, so 5 divided by 100 will be 0.05, bracket raised to minus 5. Minus 5, why we have taken minus 5? The value of n, that means the project life is 5 years, so minus 5 divide by 0.05. So by using the scientific calculator, you can calculate the value of PV. It will come to 86,600. Now what they are asking, the net present value, as we have just explained here, the net present value, it will be the present value minus the initial investment. So the net present value will be present value, that is the value of PV minus initial investment. So 86,600 minus 60,000, the value will be 26,600, which is the answer expected in the final answer. So as per the official answer key, the range of answers is 26,400 to 26,700. Our answer is in between this range. We will get full marks. So our answer is also the correct one. Question 79. The demand function of a light rail transit system LRTS of a city is represented as Q equal to 43,000 minus 850 P, where Q is the ridership per day and P is the fare per ride. If the existing fare of rupees 30 per ride is reduced to rupees 25 per ride, then the consequent increase ridership of the LRTS in percentage. Please read the question carefully. They are asking the ridership, the increased ridership in percentage, not the figure. Is how much? The answer expected is rounded off to two decimal places. Now, very similar question was earlier asked and explained in GATE 2022, question 72. You can check this particular question in set 1. So here, as per the given information, demand function is Q equal to 43,000 minus 850 fee. We have just written down what is the equation provided, or what is the demand function which is given in the question. So there are two conditions given. First one, the fare is, in the first condition, the fare is rupees 30 per day, and in the second it is rupees 25 per day, right? Rupees 25 per ride. So ridership per day, based on the rate, that is rupees 30 per ride, will be, you just need to put the value of this value of P as rupees 30 in the first part, and then the value of P has been changed to rupees 25. So just find out what is the total ridership per day based on this fare. So the value of Q in the first case will be 17,500, and value of Q in the second case will be 21,750. So what is the net increase in ridership? It will be 21,750 minus 17,500. It will be 4,000 250. Now they are asking what is the increase ridership of the LRTS in percentage. So what is the net increase? 4250, and it has been increased from 17,500. So 4250 divided by 17,500 multiplied by 100, it will be 24.28%, right? So this is the percentage increase in the ridership. So 24.28, if you put the answer in the final answer, then as per the official answer key, they have provided the range of answer between 24.00 to 25.00. Our answer is in this range, we will get full marks for this answer. Question 80, the second last question. In a transport network, all the nodes represented by A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H and their connecting links are shown in the adjacent figure. The values mentioned alongside the links represent the travel time. These figures, it represents the travel time. Following the shortest path, the minimum time required to commute from node A to node G is how much in minutes? One of the easiest question, you just need to do the calculation, like which total is giving you the least time. That means the shortest part to travel from node A to node G. So the shortest part to travel from A to G will be A, B, D, F and G. And what will be the travel time? It will be 10 plus 5 plus 6 plus 8. So the total will be 29. So the minimum time required to commute from node A to G will be 29 minutes. So the exact answer, the correct answer is 29 for question 80. Again, easy question, question 80 was. The last question, a classified vehicle count was conducted in the mid block of a two-lane one-way collector road. Two-lane one-way collector road during peak hour 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. on a weekday. The vehicle count and corresponding passenger car unit PCU are shown in the adjacent table. In first column, they have mentioned the vehicle type, then hourly vehicle count. This is the vehicle count and this is the PCU value, right? If the maximum design capacity per lane of that road is 1300 PCU per hour, then the volume to capacity ratio of that road is how much? So basically in this, we have to find the volume of that particular road and then what is the capacity, right? So, and just if we divide volume to capacity, we will get the actual figure which is expected in the question. So here, step one, for what we will first do, we will calculate the total vehicle in PCU, right? They have mentioned hourly vehicle count, that is 52 for the bus, and then this is the PCU value. So if we multiply by this, we'll get the actual total vehicle in terms of PCU. So 52 multiplied by 2.50, we will get the value as 130. So you will just multiply these figures and you will get the total PCU per hour for the each vehicle type. So the total PCU in that particular time, peak hour of 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. will be 2022 PCU per hour, right? We have just multiplied these figures and then calculated the total PCU by doing the addition. So 2022 passenger, this passenger car unit per hour is the total vehicles. Then step 2, we will calculate the capacity of road. That means two lanes. Now, as per the given information, the maximum design capacity per lane of that road is 1300 passenger car unit per hour, right? Now, so the maximum design capacity, two lanes, because this is provided, if you read the question carefully, they have mentioned the maximum design capacity per lane of that road is 1300 PCU. So multiplied by 2, we will get the maximum design capacity for both the lanes. So it will be 2600 passenger car unit per hour. In the first step, we have calculated the volume, and in second step we have calculated the capacity. So the volume to capacity ratio, it will be 2022 divided by this 2600, the value you will get as 0.78. So this is the answer expected. As per the official answer key, the range of answer is 0.72 to 0.85. Our answer is in between this range, so it is correct one. We will get full marks. So this was the last question. This is the end of the entire question paper. We have solved each and every question paper. So this is the end. So thank you for watching this video lecture till the end. The link uh, to order this book, to get your own copies, is available on your screen. The QR codes shows the links for the books which is there on the Amazon and Flipkart. So I hope you have got some valuable inputs, like how to prepare for GATE architectural planning. Both the guidebooks, I'm sure they will definitely help you to achieve more than 65 to 70 marks in the upcoming GATE exam and all the competitive exams related to the architecture and planning topics. So thank you so much for watching this video lecture till the end. If you think that this has helped you in some way to correctly prepare for GATE architecture and planning and other competitive exam, do like the video, do share with your friends, do subscribe to the channel. In case of any doubt related to any question, you can post your comment in the comment box section. In case sometime the book is not available, then also you can comment in the comment box section. I will give you the brief that when the books will be available. So thank you again for watching this video lecture till the end, and wish you all the best.